The number one thing that I see people struggling with is thinking that ads are affected by anything else than their offer. And when we look at the offer in its essential capabilities and what it can do, it is the key detrimental factor that will decide whether your ads are going to be profitable or not profitable. And the first thing I do with all of our clients that go into our blueprint is I make sure that their offer is something that is so good on the back end and on the front end that by the time they launch the ads, they will already be attracting clients organically when they improve this specific thing. And that's why I made this video today for you, so you can understand how you can also start implementing such a good offer. Not only at what Alex Hormozi says in 100 million offers, but also understanding the key components, what will fit your business. Because if you set up something that will be tailored towards your business, in your specific industry, in your niche, you will maximize the chances that clients will say yes. So the offer is created for not only the ads, but also for your entire ecosystem of your business. Let's get into the offer. Take notes, and I promise you that if you implement all of the things that are going to be here, whether you have an agency or a coaching business, that you will see an exponential ROI in your business. Let's get right in. What is good, everyone? Stefan here, and welcome to a brand new module of the Business Blueprint Advanced. And man, oh man, do we have a module today. This one is going to probably be the longest one. I know I've said that with most of these videos, and I don't want to make them too long, guys, because it can be a lot for you guys to take all of these things in. But of course, as we said, you want to use your net time, no extra time to watch these modules, and use it as a podcast almost, so put it at 2 times speed. And I will also tell you right now, immediately, this module will be divided into 2 sections. So I don't want you watching the entire thing. I would actually want you to go and skip to the exact, things that are necessary for you. So if you're an agency owner, at maybe minute 5, 10, or 15, I will tell you, there will be 2 pathways. One will be for the agency route. The other one will be for the coaching route. So if you're a coach or course creator, you go to that specific section, you skip the entire video. If you're an agency, you go and watch the video on that route. So I will also be actually having all of the offer things at the end, so the worksheets and all these things. So keep in mind that you will have a worksheet at the end where we'll be creating your offer. So you will have an offer on 1 page, so you can take that with you and then present it to your clients. So we're going to give you everything to help you build a clear, high value offer by understanding your market, what they truly want, and how to position your solution to attract, convert, and scale your business. So without further ado, let's get into it, because we have a lot to cover. Now, the goal of this module will be to have a clear core offer defined. I want you stepping out of this module and pretty much going into it, understanding how you can have an offer that your market needs. Because we of course talked about the niche and the ICP, but it's super important that we tailor our offer, differentiate it from the market, and give the niche something that they actually want and that can actually solve their problems, but that doesn't shoot ourselves in the foot, right? That actually gives us something that we can offer them without us having to strain ourselves in having to pretty much do all the effort without getting them the results that we actually want them to get, right? Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is that they reach their transformation. If they can reach that transformation and the desired outcome, then you have done your job as a consultant, as an agency owner, as a coach. So we also want to be working on a strong offer structure so you can present it in the right way. So we're actually going to be working on your sales, right? On your sales process. Your sales process starts with your offer, because the offer is the most important thing in your business. If your offer isn't good, if your offer doesn't speak to your audience, you can know the audience, you can understand the audience, you can understand their problems, their needs, their desires, but you're not going to be able to give them something that they actually would want to pay for. The moment they want to actually pay for something is the moment you have a good offer. The only way that we can do that is by doing research on the offer and creating an offer tailored to them, so we can present it to them and we know that the correct pricing is also set, and that we also have clarity on if we're going to be charging high ticket or mid ticket, and get clarity on that. Because I see so many people actually charging low ticket or mid ticket when they can be charging high ticket, and they strain themselves by saying, no, I don't think my niche is actually going to be paying high ticket. Well, a lot of people would pay high ticket, but it's all about your positioning. If you don't position it well, then it's not going to be high ticket. So we're also going to be creating a scalable path that we're going to map, then a worksheet that we're going to be completing. And by the end of this module, you will have everything you need to build an offer that sells itself. Okay, so that will be the goal of this module. Now, as I said, a lot to go through, so let's get right in and start with the, why most offers actually don't scale, and why most offers pretty much have the the issue on scaling, because at 5 to let's say 50K a month, the always the same issue arises when we talk with people in the advanced program, and that is that the offer is always too broad, right? It's too broad, or it's too weak and not tailored towards their niche, right? It's either that or it's too generic, and that breaks the ability to be able to scale, because at scale, every single margin that you have will account to your cost per acquisition. And if your cost per acquisition rises while scaling, then you have less leverage, less margin to actually play on the ads and test more to acquire more clients at a lower cost, right? So the trap is usually that people have a weak or unclear offer. They underprice it 9 times out of 10. They underprice it, or they fully, that's what I see with starters, they overprice it because a coach told them, oh, you need to charge more. And then they have no case studies, but they want to overcharge. They want to say, I should charge, like maybe I had someone yesterday actually on a clarity call, and they said, yeah, I want to charge, 6K for my offer and a 12K offer. And I said, how many clients do you have? And he said 0. You want to sell something at that level whilst you don't even have clients? That doesn't make any sense in my head, So we started lower with him. But for you, you might already have an offer. So you, in this case, might underprice yourself, and you might not even stand still with it. You might be thinking, well, I haven't even thought of actually if I underprice myself or overprice. So we're going to fix that in this video. Now, you would also have a higher CPA, which those both two things actually lead to the higher CPA, right? So an unclear offer and a weak offer and underpricing will lead to a higher CPA, because you will be, your margin for, let's say, for example, if you're paying 1K to acquire a client at a 2K price point, will be very different than when you do it. It will be a 50% CPA. Then the other one, if you charge it at, let's say, for example, 4,000, the CPA will be 1/4, right? So it will be the half of pretty much your average order value. When you double the price, it will be already 1/4, which will give you that margin to play on, so you can actually put more into ads, what I was saying. So again, when the price is lower and it's weak, you will have lower margins and it will be higher to scale. Now, weak offer initially, what I've seen, creates low closing rates, less revenue, worse lead quality, more wasted ad spend, more objections. Actually, when the price is higher, less objections come because people get the inclination and the perception that you actually know what you do, right? So the retention will be worse because you, on the lifetime value of the client, will get less. There will be unstable growth and harder delivery. So your offer makes or breaks your entire acquisition system. That's why this module is probably one of the most important, and I really, really will implore you to take all the time with this module, maybe go through it a couple of times to actually understand what a good offer means, what it entails, right? What it is. Because when you have that and you tailor the worksheet that I'm going to be giving to you and the exact, guideline that are going to give your potential clients, well, then that's going to be fixed, and the goal is to fix a clear offer, a high value offer that's worth the price, that's easy to sell, that's easy to fulfill, so you can keep on repeating it with, repeatable delivery, that's aligned with your niche, built for that exact ICP that we built, in the ICP architecture, and priced correctly, where the margins can give you the leverage so you can scale, so you can pay more to acquire more people, right? So because the market, it never buys your time. It never buys your time. And we always start thinking that it's time that they buy. They don't buy the time. They buy the result. That's the number one thing. They always buy the result. So when you pay for the result, well, and then you pay for the path and you pay for the belief you can deliver, then when it all aligns, you can charge more for it effectively, and you can also position it for yourself so your margins increase gradually, okay? So that's, by the way, also how we've been able to sell, anywhere, like agency services, anywhere from 3K to 5K to even 10K a month. We even had a couple of agency services where we had like 12 to 15K retainers every single month in the past. And it worked great because it's not that they didn't buy the time that we spent in the agency. They bought our experience and they bought the result. They wanted the results. Because for that client, every month we were getting about 300 to 350K euros out for them, right? So you can imagine, you pay 10K, but you get that out. It's 35 ROAS. It's insane. So the core principle. Now, the core principle is do not sell services. We do not sell services. We do not sell agency packages. We do not sell websites, SEO. We do not sell coaching programs. We do not sell ads. We're not selling I run ads or I build funnels or I do content or I coach. We don't do that. We sell outcomes. So what does that mean? When I come to the call, I tell people, I'm not selling you this program. This is not about the program. The deliverable is not what I sell you. It's just a part of the process to get you the thing that we want. And that's what I sell. I sell more qualified leads, more booked calls, more clients, more revenue, faster growth, and clear path. That's what I sell. That's what you get when you get into the advanced program. You don't buy these videos. Well, you do watch them because it's a part of the process, what you need to get to that point. Yes. So you kind of buy the process as well, but you buy the outcome. That's the reason why people will pay money down, right? The reason why I will buy coffee or water or whatever is because it will satisfy my need for actually to have to drink something, to have to want to get caffeine. I buy the outcome that caffeine gives me. I buy the outcome that water gives me, which is to survive, right? That food gives me to survive, and sometimes enjoyment, but that's another story. So we do all these things because it gives us a certain outcome, right? And when it gives us a certain outcome, well, that's when we're going to put more money in front of it, right? And when you understand that, you start to understand that people don't buy what you do. They don't give a shit. They buy what they get. They buy the outcome, right? So when a woman goes to shop, they buy the experience that the shopping gives her. They don't buy the actual thing. They think they buy the thing, and they do, but it's not the actual thing that they want. It's not the thing that they need. They want the attention that comes with it, maybe for some. They want the experience that comes with it, the emotional part that comes with it. We sell outcomes, okay? So keep in mind that your offer always needs to answer one core question, and that is, what transformation is this person actually buying? If that is not clear, your offer is weak. If it doesn't have a clear outcome, it's a weak offer, right? It's something that is not as clear for people for when they step in terms of what they're going to be getting. And this is the core principle I want to actually get across in this video. So you understand that when you start creating your offer or optimizing your offer, that you also optimize it for the outcome that your clients want. Maybe you're in the fitness coaching space. Well, then you're selling an outcome of losing weight. If you're in the relationship, then you're maybe selling the outcome that someone finds their ideal partner. If you're in the business like we are, then you're selling a certain outcome, amount of clients, leads, clients, booked calls, whatever, right? You're selling the outcome, always, never something else. That's the most important thing that you need to understand. So what I would like to tell you a little bit more now about is the value equation, which I think is very important to understand, and that this comes from Hormozy and acquisition.com. So shout out to them. Now, one of the most useful frameworks, in my opinion, is when it comes to building strong offers is the value equation, right? And the idea is very simple. So what it says is that the value goes up when the dream outcome increases, right? That's this one. So the value goes up when the likelihood of success goes up. So the dream outcome is pretty much when they have a specific outcome, that they know this is actually what I will get what I want, pretty much. Then the likelihood of success, which is how likely is it that I'm going to get success with this? If that is high, then the value of the program increases. If their time to get results is increased, so for example, if I were to tell you, all right, just take this specific SD card, plug it into your laptop, and you will have all the business knowledge on your laptop that I would have from the past 8 years that I've been running my business. I mean, you would take it immediately, which we can kind of do with AI these days, but you're getting my point. If I can reduce the time to get your results, so for example, you would come in and I would say, the entire thing gets built for you. The entire thing. You just have 1 hour to give me all the information, and your funnel, ads, creatives, everything gets managed, everything is handled, everything is running, everything gets followed up, is handled for you. People would pay for that because the value increases because of the time to result. That's the exact reason why people do business class. The only reason why people do business class and why they take business class to pretty much airlines and all these things is because they pay for speed. They pay for time to result. They pay for the quickness. They pay for the priority so they do not have to wait on the line. They can go into the line because they like speed. And people will pay for speed at any time, always. They'll pay for it, right? And What we also have is the effort required. That will also increase the value of the program. So which means if there's no effort required, if you were to give me the entire funnel and ads and all these things created for me, right? And I would not have to do anything. I wouldn't even have to lift a finger, right? I would just have to tell you one sentence. Well, then the perceived likelihood of the value will be increasing as well. So we focus on the effort required as well to bring that, pretty much down. And if we can take the effort completely out of the picture, then people don't have to do the thing, and we can get them the results as quickly as we can. So the outcomes we need to get is, instead of having a weak offer with unclear results, slow results, risky, complex, all these things, we don't want that. Don't make it complicated. We want to make it simple, safe, and also proven, so there's no risk involved for the person coming in. It's a faster path, and there's also clear outcome. So those are the things that we're going to be working on to make it crystal clear, so that when someone joins, they actually know and have a clear path that they're going to be following. Same thing goes for when you create the offer. We're going to be having a path structured, so they understand the process, so they understand how to actually see your offer, right? Not only just you speak your offer. No, I want you to show the offer to your client. I want you to show them the path that they need to do. I want you to illustrate to them exactly from point 1 when they join, from point whatever, if they are like a 9-month program or a 12-month program, if you have like a 6-month program, it doesn't really matter. I want you to have a clear finish line, right? So when they start, they know exactly where they're going to. And that usually means you don't need to add more. You simply need to just increase the perceived value. When you increase the perceived value and you do those 4 things, which you're going to be working on, like Hormozy says, you increase the perceived value, you can increase your price. And pricing is something we're going to be talking about in the next module, very more in depth, which is also going to tie into like this offer module, but that aside, that is the value equation that we're going to be using as well, right? So what makes an offer easy to buy? So an easy to buy offer, if you think about it, an iPhone, right? Using an iPhone. Why is it easy to buy? So it has a clear outcome. People know exactly what they get. And the prospect understands exactly what they are buying. They know what they're buying. I'm buying a phone. I'm buying something that will save me time, right? And it also has a specific problem. So the offer solves a real pain. It's not something vague. I get an iPhone, I know how to use it. It's specific. It fixes my problem of having to be able to contact people, talk with people, get in touch with people, use social media, all these things. It's also a believable mechanism. So that means that the prospect understands how the problem is solved, right? So I understand how it solves it. It's easy to understand. There's a risk reduction. It has a guarantee, or proof removes fear. I have the guarantee that I have a solid phone that's going to be with me for a long time. And it's a fit for the niche. It's a strong niche fit. It's tailored towards it, that it was pretty much built for me specifically. That's how it feels with an iPhone. It feels personal. It was built for me. And that's why I want it. So if people hesitate on the sales call, and it's about the offer, because when we get into sales, I will be telling you the 3 things that people can care about, which will be either you, your offer, or your business, right? If there's one thing that people always are skeptical about, is that they usually trust you, they know your business can help them, but the offer just doesn't make sense for them, or they don't have the money to buy it. 9 out of 10 times that's what I see, right? So it's, how do you solve that? How do you make it from not having the money to buy to finding the money to be able to buy it? We flip the script. That's what you do when the offer becomes easier to buy. And when it becomes easier to buy, people buy, right? Now, why most offers underperform? As I said, maybe this is you right now. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you already sold the offer, but still, the problem is being too vague, too broad, too many features, too effort heavy. Maybe you do 8 one-on-one sessions with people if you're a coach. Maybe you do 7 different services for people on the agency side. Could be, right? Maybe you have websites and Google ads and meta ads and SEO and website management. You do all these things, which are not needed because you don't have a core offer. You don't have upsell or downsell or cross-sell offers, and you don't have one core offer. You don't have it. So we're going to work on that. So we want to also have a high perceived value, right? And then what happens if you do these things, there will be no urgency. There will be no positioning. It will be confusion for you in the delivery and for the client when joining. There will be resistance, price objections, chaos in delivery, just a mess. I see people make a mess out of it. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just simply start with a niche as we did the ICP, clear offer, one core offer, maybe one or two max side offers, not more, to add to the lifetime value. And you focus on that. That's scalable business to 100K a month, easily, right? So what most people don't understand is that when they come to the advanced, they think they have, they think they have a problem when it comes down to sales. Oh, I cannot close my clients. Oh, the leads are not good. You don't have a problem when it comes down to those things. You simply have an offer problem because your offer is not catchy enough. It's not hitting the niche as we want it to hit. So by watching this, you should have already had the niche and ICP set down so we can focus on making your offer perform instead of underperforming. So the high ticket first. So what I usually advise people is to look at the high ticket lane. And when I say the high ticket lane, I'm talking about going preferably the route of selling a high ticket program or a service. The reason why I say that is because a high ticket service and a program will always give you more margins and will be more scalable than a low ticket one. Now, does that mean that I haven't seen people scale with a low ticket or a mid ticket one? No. There are people that have done it, and there's other clients, like, for example, one of my biggest case studies, Sophia Meyer. She sold a program for 1K, lifetime access, and she scaled it up to 200K a month. But then she had to increase the price to almost to a high ticket one. Now she has a high ticket, and now she sells for 300K, right? So we will be focusing mainly about high ticket, but I just want to clarify the stages on what's high ticket and what's low ticket in my perspective and from us at For Success. The low ticket is any product that sells for less than 250. That can be one time, that can be monthly. It really depends. Usually, in my books, if it's less than 250, we're talking about a low ticket program. You are mainly focusing on quantity instead of mainly quality, right? Because it's tough to get quality and quantity right when we're selling a low ticket. You will attract usually buyers that are not investment heavy, right? But it's easier to sell, so it has its pros and cons. Now, the mid-ticket, for me, when we talk about mid-ticket, just so we're clear on all of these things, mid-ticket for me is when you sell between 250 and 2K. That can be either a one-time or a monthly offer, okay? In my opinion, that's mid-ticket. If you do anything less than that, it's low-ticket. And if you do anything higher than that, up until 10K, I would say it's high-ticket. From 2K to 10K, for me, it's high-ticket, right? And that can, again, be either monthly or it can be one-time or yearly, right? And premium is anything above 10K, from 10K up. That's for me premium. If you're able to sell 10K and up to your audience, you're probably going to have a handful of clients, so minimum clients, but maximum like involvement from you. Usually most people that are in here, and what I do as well, is we're very involved when it comes down to these clients. So for example, we have our mastermind that I talked to you about, like Business Blueprint Mastermind. And the Business Blueprint Mastermind is the program where people pay about 30K a year or 3K a month to join it, but they get support chat, priority support chat with me. You can chat with me the entire day, right? Only when I'm not making these modules, of course. So the question arises, well, why would I do high ticket, Stefan? So maybe you're listening to this and you're already doing high ticket or you're doing premium and you get it, but I still want to make you understand. Or maybe you're doing low ticket and mid ticket and you want to get to a high ticket. And you might think like, well, my audience is already giving me resistance right now on low ticket and mid ticket. Why would they even join on high ticket? Maybe that's what you're thinking. Well, I'm going to tell you why. So in my opinion, right, high ticket gives you more margin per client. That's the most important thing. Logical, right? You charge more, you get more. Makes sense. But also, it will also be a better service quality because here's the thing. Unconsciously, when someone pays you more, you're gonna be amped up to give them more. Unconsciously, you're gonna have the responsibility to do more for them because they would have paid you more. So that's another thing. It's easier to scale because of the margin and because of the better service quality, and you will have better client relationships. The people that pay more will be more invested. Alex Hormozi used to charge about 15K for a setup for 3 months, and then after that, 3K a month. People that came to him were invested because they put out a lot of money to work with him. You know what his churn was? Less than 4%, right? Why? Because people paid a premium price. So in my opinion, what I would always do, regardless of your niche, now you might be thinking my niche, they consider 2K to already be high ticket, and maybe for some others, 10K would be mid-range in some niches, right? So don't get like stuck on the exact number, but focus on the level of commitment and value instead. Now, this does not mean that you cannot have a mid-ticket or low-ticket offer. I'm not saying you don't need to do a low-ticket or mid-ticket one. You absolutely can, but the key is your core offer should always, that's what your entire thing should be, your business should be built around. For us, that's, for example, Business Blueprint Advanced, where you are in right now. And that's the core offer. That's the offer we tailor everything around, right? And because we tailor everything around it, our margins are better, our service is better, our client relationships are better, everything is better, everything becomes more smooth. Now, does that mean that we don't have a low ticket offer? Well, we do. Does that mean that we don't have a mid ticket offer? Well, we do. Or a premium offer? Well, we do. But our core offer, everything that is surrounded in this is about Business Blueprint Advanced, because that's our core, right? So, depending also on your business model, so for agencies, high ticket will usually show up in the retainer, or the retainer and the setup fee, or the performance-based components that come to that for coaches and course creators. If you are that, it will usually look like a high ticket program, group coaching, hybrid models, or offer with strong implementation. But the goal is not to just charge more, to be very clear with you, right? The goal is to build something that is valuable enough, specific enough, and outcome driven enough that the higher pricing will make sense. And that's what we're going to be building. Okay? So will this module be tailored to you if you have a low ticket, mid ticket? Sure, you can still make the offer. But do we want to focus more on high ticket and premium? Yes, because it will give you more leverage, right? So I'm going to help you also understand how to go from low ticket. So keep your low ticket. If it's converting right now, keep it. And then we go to a high ticket to add it to that, right? I'm going to test it first. If you don't have a high ticket. If you already have a high ticket, I'm going to implore you to look at increasing your price. If we can have the value equation improved with all the things that I mentioned to you, right? So that's what we're going to be working on. Now, the offer stack. So you might have heard of the offer stack, from Russell Brunson, potentially, maybe also from Alex Hormozi. The offer stack is where we have different ladders that lead to the highest program or the highest service. How does that look? So for us, for example, what we have is we have a low ticket, which is Tribe to Success. That one is priced at right now, at the moment of recording this, $125 a month. After Tribe, people can ascend to the starter program. And the starter program is pretty much our mid/low high ticket, I call it, right? That's where they can really learn to start and, grow their business from the ground up. And then we have the advanced, which you are in, which at the moment of speaking is between 9.6K and 15K. And that's our core high ticket. That's the core high ticket program. That's the thing that we want to sell. That's the thing we want to get people on, because it's the main thing that gives us the best margin and the best client results. And the private is the 15K. Well, now, of course, I said we have the mastermind. So the mastermind will be around 30K. So that's our premium ascension pack, right? And we also have done for you services in that ascension pack, which also start from 3K a month. So that's our agency component, right? So we have both the agency component at a high level, and we have the program levels on the front end. So the moment when you have something like this, you start with something that's the core entry for the clients, and you can then upsell them, preferably, or cross-sell them on an offer that can keep the lifetime value for you at the highest level possible. So the flow will be, you have the niche down, you have the offer down, you have your sales down because you have the niche and the offer down, you have the delivery down because your offer is good and you sell people into delivery, and you have the retention good, which increases your lifetime value so you can spend more to acquire clients. That's the flow we have, right? And that's what we call the offer stack. So it's a full picture of how everything comes together, which is going to be in a document for you at the end of this module. And it specifies who the problem, right? What problem it solves, what result you help create, how you do it, what they get, how long it takes, what support is included, how risk is reduced for the people, and why they should trust you over anyone else. And when we have understanding of that, you can give your niche something that they can pretty much, you can tailor it for them. If they don't have the budget, they go to the low ticket one. If they have the budget, you go to the core offer one. If they have a lot of budget, you go to the premium one. That way you send them into the correct offer. So that's the offer stack. Now the deliverables versus the value. So practically, when we look at making sure to give potential prospects the thing that they want, the thing that they want differs from what you give them. So let me give you an example. You might give them calls, one-on-one calls. You might give them Slack access or Discord access or WhatsApp access or school access like we give you. You might give them templates, dashboards, bonuses, whatever, right? But, super important, more stuff in the bag doesn't mean that the value increases, that the perceived value increases, that the value equation increases. Doesn't mean that. You can add a bunch of things, still doesn't mean that people would want that. So when you go into a grocery shop, like grocery store, and you start adding a lot of things to the bag, it doesn't mean that you're going to eat everything. It's not actually what you want, what you think you want, right? So what do? Well, we add value to people. We give them what they actually want, faster results, more certainty and a clear path forward. So most people think that if you do all of these things, it sounds more impressive. Like, wow, you do so many calls like throughout the week. That's so good. Like you should have, your program is so valuable because of that. No one's ever said that. No one's ever said that we do a lot of Q&As and a lot of one-on-one calls, that the program is valuable. It's about what happens in those calls. It's about if we get you faster results in those calls. It's about if we give you certainty in those calls, clarity in those calls, the path forward in those calls. So I really want to tell you, instead of asking yourself, what more can I add? Ask yourself, what is the minimum set of things that most directly create the desired result? Because that's where the offer starts. The offer starts at you giving the clients what they want and what they actually need. And that could be one call in 6 months to give them the faster results. And then they do it. It could be one thing. It doesn't have to be more. Don't think in quantity, think in quality with the offer. It's not like ads or outreach or content or all these things. You need to do more to see what works. It's not with the offer. The offer is not that. The offer is actually reversed. The offer is you do need to do less. You need to give them less. And they will appreciate it more. Otherwise, you shoot yourself in the foot. The more you give, the tougher it's going to be for you to actually deliver to the clients. Way tougher. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're going to probably charge less. And we don't want that. We want to do more, but get them better results. We want to, right? So if we do anything more, it needs to affect the results, but preferably we want to do less. So do less, get more results. Do less, get faster results. Do less, more certainty. All of these things are going to be tying in together. Now, so far, I hope you're following everything. And I want to tell you now a little bit more before we go into the two paths of the agency and the coaching. The minimum viable offer versus the bloated offer, which ties into what I was just telling you. So a minimum viable offer pretty much means that we only include what actually drives the result. And this goes for agencies, coaches, course creators, all types of different service businesses, all of them. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to add less things. It also doesn't mean that you're going to have less value. It just means that you're not going to have any unnecessary extras and bonuses in your offer when it's not needed. So for example, for agencies, if I just expand this, the bloated one could be, I do websites and ads and CRM and content and calls for you. I'm going to do everything for you because my perceived value of me doing more will be better for you. Most clients don't care. They really don't. And you're going to be making yourself a problem on the delivery. It might sound good. Oh, I'm becoming a full service agency. But what's going to happen is you're going to be capped at a certain time because you're going to be dependent on good talent that can deliver on all of those things. And when you're dependent on talent, which is always the case in an agency, always talent, always, you're going to be capped at a certain level because you're going to have a tough time finding the talent. Unless you're a god at recruitment, which is very tough to do. I've hired more than 70 people. It's been the toughest thing, excruciatingly painful. The minimum viable one though would be, I will get you 15 to 30 qualified leads a month by doing Meta ads or Google ads. Done. That's it. So for example, with my agency, the only thing I do is I build them a VSL funnel and I run their ads. And I ask 15K to 20K for the VSL funnel, and I ask between 3 to 5K a month to run their ads. That's it. Done. And the goal can be, we reach this certain milestone of, let's say, 200K a month. That's it. And they pay for it. Gladly they pay for it. Gladly they pay for it. Gladly they put their money down. Because it's a minimum viable offer. I'm not selling them a dream that I'm going to do their emails, that I'm going to do their content, that I'm going to do all these things. I don't care about that. I'm not going to do that. And they know that, and they respect it because I have my boundaries. So you should have boundaries, because I see so many people, and agency owners specifically, having clients walk all over them because you don't have boundaries. You don't say, no, this is not what I do. And that's when you lose, because your team loses. It's your responsibility to say no. And when you don't, your team loses and you lose and your entire business loses, because you don't make it scalable. You make it unattainable, the results you want to have. Right? So to give you, by the way, another example on the ad side of things, a minimum viable offer could be as well. For example, we generate 15 to qualified leads per month for real estate agents through paid ads and funnel setup. So you do only 2 things and that's it. For coaches, it's the same thing. For coaches, what I usually see is they do one-on-one calls, they do group calls, they have the modules, they have full Discord support or WhatsApp support, they have a community, they talk with the client the entire day, just fully bloated, fully bloated. And then you cannot scale it. Maybe you get to a nice 20, 30K a month, 40K max, 50, 60K, but then you end up doing 9 one-on-one calls in a period of 3 months with people. That's insanity. I see even CEOs doing one-on-one calls. It's crazy. I always call it out. Why? Make it simple. I help agency owners, for example. I help agency owners install a client acquisition system, one client acquisition system, and get 5 to 10 clients in 180 days. That's what we do. We help you install the client acquisition system, and you run it. Done. All the other things that come about are extras. But they're only the things that are needed for you to make it profitable, that acquisition system. That's the only thing we give you. So the setting, the following up with the leads, the sales calls, because otherwise you won't convert the leads, and then of course your delivery and how you keep clients and add the lifetime value, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that you offer. The same thing, but it's a different perception, because we sell the result. You see that what we do? We sell the outcome. We don't sell the deliverable. And this is where a lot of people go into the mistake of, I have 10 one-on-one calls. Yeah, I have it. Who cares? I don't care about that as a buyer. And all buyers don't care about that. They actually care about that if they're going to be helped. And they think that one-on-one is going to help them because it's the most personal thing. It's not the case. Okay? So the goal is strip away anything that doesn't directly help you create the result, because the market doesn't want more stuff. It wants the clear path to the outcome. All right? Now, that's the minimum viable offer, and this is one of the most important things. So if you understand this one, you understand the business. Now, a productized offer. Also another thing before we go into the specifics. So a productized offer means, just to be very clear, that you solve the same problem for the same type of client in a repeatable treadmill type of way that you see on the right-hand side, right? So it's a treadmill, and imagine just your offer going on a treadmill the entire time. It's the same thing. It's a repeatable process. You make the Kinder Bueno, you make the cakes. It just goes brrr, the entire time, right? And then what this does, it allows you to be able to scale. Because most people, when they start, is they have custom work, so you do everything manually. But then what we start doing is we have a process called standardizing, systematizing, and then we scale. So for example, when you do the custom work, you're going to standardize and document everything that works. So for example, if you run ads for clients, you're going to document it. You're going to make a document out of it with Claude or ChatGPT, put it in a document, say this is my process, make a Loom video, and then you have it for your team members that you can delegate it to. Then you're going to systemize. You're going to build a repeatable process. You're going to have a step-by-step workflow. Step 1, do this. Go to the ads manager. Step 2, make the ad account. Step 3, get your billing connected. Step 4, launch the ads. Step 5, have your campaign ad set and ad level structure. And then we're going to scale so it gets delivered without you, right? Now with coaches, what I usually see in this process, just being honest with you, maybe that's you, is that most coaches start with one-on-one. They start with one-on-one coaching because they have the time. They say, you know what, I want to do it. I want to start with the one-on-one coaching. Then they move into group coaching. And when they go to group coaching, now you can serve 10, 20, 50 plus clients at once. And that's exactly how something like Business Blueprint Advanced scales, because we have the same system, but we have it delivered in a structured way, like you watching the modules, going to the Q&As, getting the support, all these things, right? With the agency, it can be that you build something custom made, or you do a lot of work for them. You do a lot of work for the client, a lot. You're super heavy involved. You make the website, you do the hosting, you do the SEO, the client asks you to make a logo, you make a logo for not asking anything additionally. You do everything for the client. So you start with that, then standardize your process. Then you make systems out of it, you delegate it, you get team members involved, you get people involved in your team. And then you scale to more clients with the same system. So you keep the system, but you just amplify it with doing more, right? And once that is maxed out, you can layer in consulting or strategy or hybrid models for the agency. That's specifically for the agency. So instead of doing everything custom or building things custom, you're repeating what already works. So whenever a client comes to me, I use a winning VSL framework, I use a winning VSL template, I use a winning ad template, I use a winning structure template when it comes down to them using and pretty much like delivering the things that they need. So I give them the structure. Everything is tailored. So if every client is different, you cannot scale. But because we've solved that with the ICP that we're going to be getting, we have a system that's repeatable. And when it's repeatable, you can scale. That's what we focus on. These are some core elements I want you to understand. All the principles that I'm telling you right now are all things to keep in mind when we go specific, and I tell you exactly how you can tailor your offer for either your agency or for your coaching business. All right? So keep this in mind when we start working on these things, because these are the key principles that are going to help you incredibly when it comes down to the specific path that you're going to go on. So we have two paths. The two main paths are the agency path, where we'll go in on client acquisition, leads, calls, pipeline, done for you systems, ROI driven. And then we have coaching and the course creator, which is more on transformation, knowledge support, accountability, personal growth. Now both require a clear niche and a painful problem and a strong outcome with believable mechanisms and scalable deliverability. So they have the same principles, which is why we're making one program for both of you. But in this module, there are going to be two paths. So after this, we're going to go into the agency route. If you are a coach or course creator, please skip that part and go to the next section, which is going to be focused on mainly you as a coach. All right. So it's very similar for both because the structure of the best offer is not very identical, but agencies often sell a service tied to client acquisition, lead flow, booked calls, revenue or pipeline creation. And coaches or course creators or consultants, you sell a transformation, you sell education, you sell implementation, you sell support, accountability, and maybe some proximity also proximity to getting in touch with you, right? So a lot of things are different. The mechanisms are different, the delivery is different, the pricing is different, the value perception is different. But at the same time, we all need to have like their similarities, right? We have the same niche, and we're all solving a problem and moving someone from point A to point B, just in a little bit of a different way. The deliverables are also different. Like with the coach, you do one-on-one or group. With the agency, you do it done for you, usually for them, right? So depending on your business model, you can skip ahead to the part, as I said, that applies to you, whether that's the agency section or the coaching, consulting, course creator one, and focus on what fits your situation best. And so for right now, we're going to be starting with let me just go back here. We're going to be starting with the agency ones to get right into that. So if we go into the agency side of things, the best offers, in my opinion, are result-oriented offers. So with agency services, you have managing offers, right? Managing offers that are mainly focused on having a service that is pretty much there for you to manage things. So for example, we manage marketing, or we post content, or we do your social media, we run ads, we handle your CRM, which in my opinion, it's more service language. We don't want service language. So keep in mind, we always want to optimize for the outcome. What is stronger, in my opinion, is we generate qualified leads, we book sales calls, we reduce cost per acquisition, we build acquisition systems. Or, for example, what you could say is we help this niche generate more qualified leads. We help this niche create a predictable client acquisition system. Or, if we go more specific, we help this niche get more qualified inquiries through their website or SEO. Or, we help this niche recruit more qualified talent. Or, we help this niche get 20% or get a 200% increase on their content and growth through our social media services. Very more specific. We sell the outcome. We sell the result. We sell the exact thing that they need. We don't sell the deliverable. Imagine we post content. Well, you're going to get we're going to get a price per content. No, we sell the outcome. So instead, we post content, we help this niche get 200% ROI, get 200% increase in their growth on social media by our services, by our content system services, right? So at first, we have the service language. We don't want to go that way. We want to go to the outcome language, and it will show the revenue impact. The closer it is to revenue, the closer it is to a growth metric, the stronger the offer will be for you as an agency. The broader it is, the more weak it is, the more service language it is. We don't want to go in the service language. So you want to go very specific when it comes down to your agency, because the closer you are to revenue or growth or any growth metric, the easier it is for the client to justify paying you, because they will be justifying the growth that you will be indicating to them. If I were to tell you in Business Blueprint Advanced, you are going to watch modules and get calls, you're not going to do it. You wouldn't do it. If I were to tell you, hey, you're going to get this amount of clients with this amount of book calls, you will do it. Makes sense, right? So that's result-oriented offers. Now, there are 4 agency offer models that I want to take you through. So the first agency offer model, in my opinion, is the retainer, which is the standard one, which is used across all boards pretty much, and that most people use. So the retainer only is, for example, you can charge between 2 to 5K a month, and the retainer it's a fixed monthly fee, right, for ongoing work, where you do 1K, 1.5K, up to 5K depending on the niche and the value delivered. Then you have the setup in the retainer, which is you build something first and then you manage, which is great for specific types of industries. So for example, for me as a coaching agency, I can build a VSL funnel and build the email sequences and then pretty much sell that because I built it. And then when I've built it, I need to manage it. So I have a managing fee. So that could be, for example, a one-time onboarding or build system fee plus the monthly management, which could be, as an example, you do a 2 to 10K setup fee plus a 1.5K to 5K a month retainer, right? And then another model is the retainer plus the performance. And the retainer plus the performance is a kind of hybrid base plus results. So you can, for example, do a fixed monthly fee plus a fee per lead, appointment, client, or performance milestone. So it could be that you charge 1 to 3K a month plus a price on top for a per lead, for example. So let's say 20 to 100 euros per lead. And usually what I do is I qualify the lead to be a name, email, phone number, and that they need to answer 2 qualified questions. That is what I specify with the lead. Or they pay 100 to 300 per booked call, right? And that works also very well. And the last one we do is performance heavy. This is results based only. This is one that I really don't go for, to be honest, because it puts all the eggs in my court. It puts all the eggs in my basket, which means all the responsibility for me to get them results is on me. It's not on the client. It's not fair because they don't have skin in the game. They haven't paid me anything. You know, and it's easiest for them to negotiate because they don't have to pay anything up front. But it's the hardest for us to leverage because we don't have anything to work with, right? Which makes it difficult. So the performance heavy one can be either a lower fixed fee, which I recommend always, never doing full performance, but if you were to go the route of full performance, it would be no fixed fee with strong upsides tied to results, with an example being, for example, you charge 500 to 1K a month just for a little bit of management, and then you do 200 to 1,000 per client, or a percentage of revenue, or ROAS, which pretty much comes to 3% to max 15%, depending on if you do percentage on profit or percentage on ROAS or revenue. So, in my opinion, I don't give a damn, just to put it that way, for you choosing the coolest model, or the model that Iman Gadji says, or the model that Charlie Morgan says. I really don't care. I really don't care what people say. Oh, this is the new model, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what I say. It matters what your market needs and what they will be able to pay and what they be able to do. And it is a matter of if you have case studies to work with. If not, you go more for the retainer plus performance or the performance heavy. These two are great to start off with. These ones are great to do after you have clients and social proof, because you can leverage and use the wording to say, I have clients, so I'm going to charge you this thing upfront, right? So, in my opinion, your goal is to choose the model that fits your niche, your proof, your systems, your confidence, and the maturity of your delivery. If you do all those things, then your pricing model becomes part of your offer, because it directly affects how much risk the client feels when saying yes. In the agency space, it will always feel as a risk. Always. Doesn't matter if you're the best closer, if you have the best offer, whatever. If you want to easily get clients, go performance heavy and go retainer performance. If I want to get clients right now, I would go up to clients and I would tell them, you would pay me for 10 booked calls upfront. And if I don't get you to 10 appointments, I'll pay you for the difference. So if I get you, for example, 5 booked appointments and I didn't get you 5, I'll pay you back the amount that I didn't give you. It's the easiest one to sell. And that's performance. Performance heavy, upfront performance heavy, right? But still upfront payment, because I need the skin in the game. I need to know that you're serious and you're not just playing me for anything, right? You need to do some involvement. You need to have some skin in the game. So in my opinion, is the pure retainer, if you want to go for that, only retainer. In my opinion, there's even another one actually. There's the retainer with performance. It's also it can also be hard to sell, because you can also get a performance of their revenue, which is the craziest I've seen. I've seen people do like 10K a month plus 5% of their total revenue of the entire business. But then you become kind of enslaved to their business. You need to be involved in their sales and all of these things. I don't like that one personally. So you choose based on niche and proof and confidence, right? Now, to make it practical, here's how it can look in a real agency setup, just to give you an idea, like how we structure ourselves. So as I said, what I do is I do a setup plus retainer and then performance. So I actually do setup plus retainer plus performance. I do those 3. And I charge a one-time 15 to 20K setup fee. And this includes the full funnel build, the VSL, the opt-in, and the booking system. As I said, the backend automations for the CRM. We have our own CRM, the email, SMS, and WhatsApp follow-ups, the tracking and reporting. And this is where we build the acquisition system from scratch. Regardless of if they already had something, I build it from scratch. Step 2 is my retainer. This one goes in after that build phase. So once we built it, which takes usually 2 months, 3 months, we go out, not at least the build phase is quicker, but getting the results. So I always tell them, I want you to get back at least the 15K from our ads. So we're going to start the ads from the setup fee. And then once we get you the 15K back, then we're going to start the ads. So once the system is live and performing, we move into a retainer. So it could be 5K a month. That's what we do. It's around day 60 or day 90. And this covers the ad management, the optimization, the scaling, the system maintenance. And then the next 2 to 3 months, the goal is to hit a certain performance for them. So for example, if they were doing 50K before we came in, we would like to aim to do 100K. And then on the 100K, what we would do is we would on the 100K ask for a specific performance fee. So that could be 5% of profit once results are proven, right? So this aligns incentives where we win if the client wins. And the reason why this works so well for us is because the setup fee ensures that we get paid properly for the heavy lifting up front. The retainer gives stability for my team members so they can do the work and have predictable income. And the performance component creates upside, right? And strengthens the offer. And the most important, we focus on one thing. We build a system, and that system generates then enough cash flow for them, revenue, to be comfortable justifying the payment, and then pay us more with the percentage. So for us, this works, but for your niche, it's different, because for us, coaches are a very specific niche. So we will be looking at tailored niches, and I'll be giving you examples on different ones, so you get an idea on how it could practically look for your specific niche. But I want you to understand the core agency models that we usually use, and that we strive for, that we go for, and that we take as inspiration pretty much when starting to implement, when looking at the space in the agency space. So you can go in 3 routes. You can go into the local business route, e-commerce route, or the coaching route. When you go into this route, usually these 3 routes are so the deliverable can be AI, it can be AI agents, it can be websites, SEO, meta ads, Google ads, whatever you want to do. But the 3 main sectors that we go through in agencies is local, e-com, and coaches. That's the 3 that we go for, and that's what we use these 4 agency offer models for. So then we have the retainer. So I want to go a little bit more in depth on like showing you examples of all the models in specific, and I'm going to give you examples for which niche it could actually be well implemented. In my opinion, retainer models work the best when the niche is less saturated. In my opinion, why? Because you need to have a niche that is open to paying, and they have not been used to paying something else. Because if people in the niche have been used to paying a little bit of they do a comparison website tool, and then they pretty much just use like a comparison tool to pay like only 50 euros when a client comes, so performance, well, then they're going to be tied to that performance. They're going to say to you, well, I've been used to paying performance, so why should I pay you a big retainer? So they have comparison power, right? We don't want that. Now, it is also good to do when the value is clear, right? So clear, measurable value. When you have, in my opinion, proof or case studies, when there's an ongoing need in the niche, and when the client understands long-term value, right? Examples for this, in my opinion, and why it works. So predictable monthly revenue, because it's nice for you, business stability for you, easy to scale, and deeper client relationships. Now, an example for this is med spa clients. So let's say if you have med spas as a niche, you could, for example, say, we will give you 20 to 40 booked appointments a month on retainer at 3K a month, for example. The retainer is the foundation, in my opinion, of a scalable agency. So it's one component that we also will always want to be striving to. It's one of the best models, in my opinion, to replicate. Now, another example could be that let's say you do meta ads for med spas, Google ads for legal niches, lead generation for real estate niches, high ticket client acquisition for coaches, it could also be one thing, and email marketing for e-commerce. Those are all niches that work good on the retainer model, in my opinion. So the pricing, what you could do is usually between 2 to 4K. If you're already charging 1K and it's going well for you and you are in a saturated niche, keep that. Maybe we'll increase it a little bit if you have the strong social proof that you can use, but we're going to keep it the same, similarly, right? We're not going to be changing it too much. So the client pays monthly because it's very important for you to understand the results are going to be ongoing. You're going to be working every single day to get them results. They're paying for the results, and they're paying for that on a monthly going because they want to get continuous results. And when they don't get results on clients, maybe you can go into recruitment, right? Now, the optimization is continuous, and the stopping means losing momentum and not having a good client lead flow. So they cannot go without it, right? So the example that I showed to you would be, for example, for med spas. Now, depending on your niche in med spas, this could be in the US. In Europe, it might be lower retainers because in Europe clients are usually a little bit more tougher when it comes down to retainers. So you would be charging anywhere between, I would say, 1 to 3K, pretty much on a monthly in the retainer. So the retainer model is that pretty much. And in my opinion, it's the best model to go for if you want stability in your business and if you want to go for longevity, right? And yeah, that's just something I personally go for. Now, usually I do, in my opinion, I do like 3-month contracts with clients, but mainly it's like month by month that I work with them and give them that. There might be some as I said, like differences on that. You can do 6 months or 12 months, but initially I would always go for a 3-month contract, and after that it's month by month cancelable. So that's the retainers. And then we have the setup fee plus the retainer. So in my opinion, the setup fee is one of the strongest models because it gives you leverage up front. You can charge more up front. So for example, I've seen people charge a setup fee for website. They build a website with AI, with Lovable or Hostinger, and then they downsell the management service. So for example, they downsell either SEO or they downsell Google ads. Sometimes they do meta ads as well. So there's going to be a setup phase with the setup fee and retainer, right? There's going to be, so that could be the funnel. You build a funnel for them. You build a CRM for them. You build a tracking for them. You build a system for them. You build a website for them, whatever. Then there's the retainer phase. That's usually we manage it. We do ads or we optimize or we scale the thing and we do it continuously. So that's why they pay for it. And then there's a scale where you can expand or upsell or retain, right? Where you can pretty much get them into different angles so they can pay more so your lifetime value increases. So the setup fee is usually for the full strategic and technical build, right? And the monthly retainer is usually for the management, optimization, reporting, and the scaling, right? That build has value because you don't hide that all of that work into a retainer, because that way you would maybe not get the full amount. It would be tougher for them to pay a 5K a month retainer than it is to pay a 1K retainer versus a 5K or 7K setup fee. You get it all up front. You increase your cash flow so you can spend more on ads, and that way you build it up on that. So that's why we use the setup fee. So as I said, a setup fee can include like funnel build, CRM, tracking, all of these things. And the retainer includes usually ad management, weekly optimization, scaling strategies. So it separates build versus maintenance, and it protects your time, and it also justifies the price. So I'm going to give you two examples. One example is closer to our model. So for example, we install a VSL funnel plus a backend system and then scale it with ads. Those are the two things that we do. Without any performance side of things, that would be only that. And that's 15K setup fee, 5K a month retainer after that phase, and optional is the performance one that we can add to it, right? And another one is, for example, that one that you could use as like an agent, which is like we build and launch a complete website system for you as an e-commerce business, and you pay a setup between 5 to 15K, and after that it's a retainer of 1.5K to 4K a month, so we can manage and get you the ads. Now, this model, in my opinion, is especially strong when your fulfillment includes a real setup phase. When it doesn't make sense. If you're just gonna onboard them, it doesn't make any sense. And you want stronger cash flow upfront, and you want your monthly fee to feel cleaner and easier to justify it. That's when this one makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. If you don't have a setup, the potential client is going to say, well, you're not going to set it up for me because I already have a website. Then you're going to be like, okay, so I don't have anything to set up for you. It's true that you cannot justify it. So there needs to be justification for you to be able to position this one. So the niches I recommend this one in is usually coaches and e-commerce, because in e-commerce you can build a CRO product page, redesign, for example, or you can do something when it comes down to making their website better. With coaches, the same thing. You can build their website. A lot of coaches don't have a good website. These days, you can build a very good website with AI. Or you can build their VSL funnel or like any type of funnel that they have, webinar funnel, whatever. And for local business, it's a little bit tougher because there's not really something to build out. You could build out a landing page. You could build out a website. A lot of times, they're already a little bit more tougher on the budgets. So the chances that you do it on local businesses is tougher initially, from what I've seen at least, having worked with real estate agents. So then we have retainer plus performance. So the third one, in my opinion, is very, very good. Very, very, in my opinion, also tougher to sell, because you only keep you have like 2K a month base, and then you do something on booked calls, which is very good, in my opinion, for local businesses. This model is great for local businesses. Amazing for local businesses. Because with local businesses, the thing you're usually optimizing for is for them to get leads or calls, right? Now for clients, it's mainly for coaching agencies. So when we look at model B, where you have a 3K a month, and you do 500 per closed client, this is usually more for coaches, I would say, for high ticket coaches, because their lifetime value is higher. But what you could also do is you could go to model C and charge a lower retainer and then a percentage of revenue generated, or on the price that the revenue generated for the sale. So if for example, if you're working with swimming pool companies that build swimming pools for people, like as a construction business, well, then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be getting a percentage, for example, like 2% on them selling a swimming pool. If that swimming pool is 70K, then you're going to get, for example, 2% of that. That's 14K when something is sold, right? So the reason why this model would work initially is because, and it works usually when you have clear social proof, clearly track outcomes, because you got to pitch the retainer and then you got to pitch a performance. So you got to pitch two things, which is tougher, as well as the setup and the retainer, which is also tough to sell. This one is a little bit easier to sell because you can play a little bit around with your retainer. If clients have friction, you can always lower the retainer, but have the upside back better on the performance. But actually, it would just prevent you going too low on your retainer. That's what a lot of people do. They go very low on the retainer and are high on upside, but then the upside takes a lot of time because the local business client or the e-com agency or the e-com business or the coach, they're very bad in sales. And that's what I see across all the board when it comes down to all niches as we have an agency, is that clients are just very bad at sales. They just don't know how to do sales. So you got to train them on sales. You got to get involved. And especially when there's a performance, you will feel the need and responsibility to help them on the performance. which will just create a mess in your business if you don't do it the right way. So I always like to keep some performance, but not have it as big as that where I would have to go and take over the entire business. Because with some businesses, it feels sometimes like we have to go in and take their entire business from them and then help them with that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have success. So this one works well because it also lowers the resistance. It takes clients less risk upfront, and there's a shared upside because you win when they win. And it has strong positioning because it signals confidence in results because you also go into performance. Now, the downside of this is that clients might try to negotiate with you to only do performance. That usually happens. So they will tell you, well, if you're so confident, why don't you just only do performance? And then you need to say, well, the reason why is because, you have skin in the game. You will show me that we will do it, right? We will show me that we'll do it. And that's when the thing that I was mentioning to you also comes about, where I could say, well, I'm going to get you, you're going to pay this for booked calls. So actually your retainer, what you could do is you kind of blend it in. You can say, well, you pay 2K a month, but I'm going to give you about 12 booked calls. If I give you 12 calls and you don't get any calls in the month, then I'm going to, for example, take away the money or give you back the money that you paid for me, because I didn't get you the calls, regardless of the monthly retainment that we do. So you can blend them in together. That works very well. So it works because the client feels you have skin in the game while you still protect your base income, which is important for you. It lowers resistance on sales costs because part of your compensation is tied to results in a way. And in most cases, it's also safer than going fully performance-based because when you don't control everything after the lead is generated, like in their sales process, you fall victim to their sales not being good, hence also not getting the performance bonus, right? So here are some examples. If you're a lead gen agency, you can say, for example, we help real estate agents generate qualified buyer leads. And you could do 1,500 a month or 1K a month, and then ask 40 euros per qualified lead. That's what I did with real estate agents. Works very well. Example 2 is an appointment-based model where we say we help coaches book qualified sales calls through ads plus funnels, and we charge 2K a month and 150 per book call. So that's like this model. And then the last one is the closer to scaled offers, is where we say we help agencies generate new clients through a full client acquisition system. We charge 3K a month plus 500 per closed client, or we do a percentage of revenue on that, right? Because when you get a client, we've helped you with the entire process, so we also attribute to you getting the clients. That's why we should get a piece of the pie as well, right? So that's the retainer plus performance model, okay? So that's another one that we could use. Now the last one is in my opinion, the easiest one to sell. Like if I were to get clients right now, I would call 50 businesses and I would all pitch them the performance model. But I would pitch the performance model in the way that I told you, right? You sell 10 booked calls or 10 leads, you get paid up front, and you give them back the difference if you haven't generated that. Without just them saying like, oh no, I need to, I want full performance, I only pay you when I get them because I've had bad experience before. I'm like, no, I don't care. You're paying me because I give you the quality ones, and we can have an agreement, a legal agreement where I say I'm going to give you back the leads. The reason why I want it is I need some skin in the game. I need you to give me your trust. If there's no trust, I'm not going to do the work. I don't care what your experiences were before. We start clean slate here. That's what we do, right? So the performance model. It's easy to sell. There's low risk upfront for the client. Even if they pay upfront, you can do a contract and then give it back to them if you haven't given the results. There's high upside with unlimited earning potential. It's a confidence signal. It shows you believe in results. Now, there are some risks to it. You will be dependent on the clients because you will be completely dependent on the sales team controlling the results, which is why I always, with the performance model, go on leads. Never go on booked calls. Never go on clients. Because when you do that, what happens when you generate a lead for them? Well, they will need to go and call the lead. So initially, you already fall victim to the fact that they need to call the lead. If they don't call the lead, then you lose leads. Then you lose sales, right? Now, there's also a tracking issue. It can be hard to prove if you go cost per call or cost per client, right? So it's hard because you will initially have the issues of proving that the client has actually come through your efforts. And again, the sales is not controlled. You cannot close for them. It's very tough to do, right? Now, I want to give you a warning, a very important one, because performance only works only when you control the full funnel, traffic, landing page, and lead quality. If the client controls sales, you're gonna be exposed. And you will have to jump into sales. And when you cannot jump in sales, and when you don't want that, to become a sales agency, that's what I had. I used to have a call center almost, as a marketing agency, because my clients weren't able to do it themselves when it comes down to converting leads. Then you become a sales agency. So it only works with a strong backend. Otherwise, it's a liability, right? So you're going to fall victim to the client having a bad follow-up, weak sales skills, speed to lead being slow, broken or missing CRM systems, they're not doing it, disagreements on lead quality. No, this lead was quality, you will say, and they will say, no, it's not quality. So that's why you should not rush into performance models, in my opinion, just because they sound attractive and they're easy to sell. They come with these cons. So if you are in an early stage right now and you've joined advanced, I don't know how you would have joined advanced if you're in an early stage, I would do a short paid trial. So for example, 30 days, you do it for 250 to 1K, and it can help reduce friction and get initial proof. But be careful with full performance-based models, because your results, again, depend heavily on the client's ability to close. And in many cases, that's outside your control. Unless you're willing to get involved in the sales process, as I said, then it's a different story, right? That's also why we don't do a fully performance model at For Your Success. We keep control over what we can control, and structure the offer in a way that it's dependent on the client as well, but they're also not as heavily involved on us on that front. Okay, so the key takeaway for you is to use this one only if it's needed, preferably at the beginning stages, if you want to sign more clients. But in my opinion, if I were you, I would always go for the retainer plus performance model, in my opinion. The setup plus fee plus retainer is a tougher one to crack. The retainer model is the preferable one, but the easiest one to sell, in my opinion, is the retainer plus performance. So a fixed retainer plus a performance-based fee, and only do a setup fee if you actually find it or deem it necessary for people to pay something up front for you to actually get them something built out, right? So again, performance-based model, to summarize it, it only works best when the backend is strong. If it's not, you're going to take full risk on things you don't control, right? And that's where most agencies, in my opinion, get burnt. So that being said, let's move on to what agencies actually sell. Again, I'm not going to go too in deep on this, but because we already talked about the outcomes, but what you actually sell as an agency is not what you think you sell. You don't. Clients think they're buying ads, content, funnels management. They don't buy that. They don't buy tasks. They buy outcomes. What they want is more clients, more revenue, less stress, predictable growth. They get leads, appointments, conversions, growth on social media if you do social media services. Clients when you build a website. Yes, when you build a website, you should be bringing them clients in. Recruitment when you build a website. You should be bringing in some specific metric has tying to a KPI or growth or any specific metric that they get to understand, that they get something out of it. The outcome. That's what we sell. That's what we're going to keep in mind, right? So again, that's a little bit circling back on what we talked about before as well. And then we have the high ticket agency structures. This is, in my opinion, the best way to run an agency, regardless of what niche you're in my opinion. Of course, you need to specify the niche and tailor the offer pretty much to the niche and see what makes sense on the niche. But it's super important for you to understand that we have a specific structure. So the structure that we do, right, and inside Advance, there's a little bit of a direction usually that we follow, and it's to build your offer around the strong retainer model. That's what I would always recommend. So you always do the retainer model, right? Regardless of if you add a setup to the retainer or you add a performance to the retainer, you always do a retainer. That's, my opinion, the best thing to do. So I would not go for the setup unless you have something to build out for a client. That's the third layer, in my opinion, right? The main layer, the core layer, is the retainer. And the reason for this is this structure gives you better cash flow. It gives you more consistency, right? And it gives you also stronger commitment from clients and a more serious positioning in the market, right? And overall healthier margins. Because for most agencies, in my opinion, a high ticket model does not look like one big thing. Instead, it's built through a combination of high value, like recurring retainers, right? Often paired with like an upfront setup and sometimes layered with a performance component. So that's why, in my opinion, it's still a high ticket thing that you want to do. You want to have the retainer being high ticket, and also preferably being something that you can run for a long time without having to think of adding additional performance things or setups or whatever. So to make it a little bit more specific for you, to show you how we did it again, so we start with a setup fee of 15 to 20K, where we build the full client acquisition system for the clients. We include the funnel, backend, CRM, automations, and tracking. And once that foundation is in place, we will move into a monthly retainer of around 5K, right? Where we manage and optimize and scale the system. So then once the results are proven and the system is working, we layer in a performance component such as a percentage of profit to align incentives further. So instead of isolating like the service, we combine it, which you could do as well. But it really depends on your niche. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is actually to get a piece of the pie from everything. So to get a retainer, then get a performance fee, and then from there on out, get a setup. Like if you can get a setup on the front, because the setup is very difficult to sell once you already have clients, unless you upsell to, for example, a website. So you do, for example, a retainer on ads, and then you want to upsell them to a website, and you can build a website. That's something that you could do. And that covers the initial build for the setup, and the retainer supports the ongoing scaling, and the performance element creates the upside for both sides. And that's what a strong scalable offer does. And I don't know what's going on here outside, so let me just give me 1 second till the car explodes. All right, so I don't know what that was, guys. But anyways, what I was saying is that the high ticket agency structure, it's important that we have preferably the retainer ongoing, right? Because that will give us the best leverage and the best bang for our buck for the long term and increase the lifetime value for the longest term. So the saturation differences is also something important to understand. Now, there's a lot of factors playing into the routes you go, right? Because for different types of niches as an agency, you go into different routes. So for example, when there's competition, right? When there's competition in that niche, so for example, real estate agents, when I was in that, it's very, very saturated, right? Which means when we go into the, for example, the real estate niche, we should have a different offer design than when we were to go to, for example, the e-commerce niche or the coaches niche or the construction niche. It's a different type of niche because all these niches need the different needs. So they also need different offers that we can also sell to them. Now, when it comes down to less saturated niches, you can usually sell more on expertise, I would say, and clarity and retainer logic. But when it comes down to more saturated niches, you need a stronger risk reversal, a better guarantee, a sharper differentiating factor, easier entry, or like some sort of hybrid pricing, right? So in my opinion, examples of more saturated niches, which are the similar ones that you see down below here, is real estate agents, coaches, dentists, med spas, solar, I would say gyms and fitness also entail that. Generic local businesses also come into play. E-commerce businesses also to a certain degree, because a lot of people go into e-commerce thinking that they're going to earn a lot of money. And examples of less saturated ones would be more, let's say, specific medical specialties. So for example, med spas or exact, I would say, treatments, specific treatments that med spas do. Real estate developers, right? Then we have legal specializations like lawyers, jurisdictions, construction lead gen in some specific niches, premium B2B service niches, industrial niches, and perhaps some sort of SaaS niches as well. So the more saturated the niche, the more precise and offer aware you need to be, and the more often you need to tailor to a retainer plus a performance instead of being able to do only retainer or a setup plus a retainer, if that makes sense. So that, going back to the fact, saturation changes everything. It changes your offer, your price, and your positioning, all of these things. This module, of course, we're talking about offer. Next module is pricing. Next module is positioning. All right. So all those three play into one when it comes into the saturation level, which you should always be looking at when it comes to these factors that you have on your screen. So that being said, there's the difference. Now that we understand that saturation, let's talk about like how that changes your offer. So with a saturated market, usually we need a lower friction entry point, which means a lower retainer, a lower setup fee, because clients are going to be more skeptical. So you need something to enter if you don't have social proof. When you don't have social proof, when you don't have at least, like, let's say 5 clients that you can leverage, then it's going to be very tough to ask a high price if you want to go for a high ticket or premium offer, right, in the agency space. And there's also a strong guarantee that you need to have to require that. So when you're an agency, you need to have some sort of guarantee in the sense of I will get you this amount of leads or this amount of book calls or this amount of clients. And if that doesn't work, then I will give you the money back for it, as we were talking on the performance side of things. So they will pay you the upfront fee for the performance. And you will give them back the amount of the clients or, for example, booked calls or preferably leads that you wouldn't have delivered to them. So there's also clear differentiating. That's also very important. You need to also differentiate yourself differently from the market. So what I had with real estate agents is that I oftentimes came to the conclusion that these real estate agents would tell me, oh, well, I'm working already with companies that do leads for me, and then the leads compare like 7 different real estate agents in that area, and I would only pay if I were to get like a customer to actually say yes to my offer, and I would only pay 150 euros for the offer. So I would have to go against that, and what I used to say is I would say, well, yeah, you get leads, but these leads are talking with 7 different people. So that means that they are already way more saturated and way more tougher to acquire for you as a real estate agent than with me, because with me, you would get them at an earlier stage when we were to do meta ads. So you always have to flip the script on these people so they get an understanding of that you are different, right? You need proof-heavy positioning. You need to have proof. And you get proof by first charging low in the beginning stages, if you're in the beginning stages, getting that proof and then using that for leverage. And then also competitive pricing pressure, right? You need to also have good pricing and know the market in terms of the pricing if the niche is saturated, like with real estate agents. Now, in a less saturated market, right, we look at, for example, you can have a simple offer structure. It works very well. Premium positioning possible, expertise-driven authority. They can have a higher price tolerance because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that there are some specific pricings that they could have, like for performance models, whereas you can then charge the setup fee and the retainer because they just don't know simply that what exists. It's a beginning market, right? The levels of saturation and sophistication are at a very starting point. They're not at an advanced point as with some of these niches that I mentioned. Now, one thing you got to understand is when we create the offer, furthermore, is, when you, for example, have a niche that is less saturated, you usually don't need that much complexity, right? You can win more on just having a simple retainer or setup plus retainer model. You don't even need to go to a performance model, right? In a lot of situations. So saturation should directly influence how you structure your offers, not just the price, but also how you stack it, how you use the offer stack that we talked about, right? So that being said, what we have here is we have additionally also the saturation and the offer structure by saturation, right? So what we're going to be having is we're going to be setting up the offer in a way that is going to be like highly structured based on the specifics of your niche. That's why I said we specify the offer always on the niche. So for example, in a saturated niche, right, what we like with coaches, realtors, med spas, gyms, generic local businesses, generic e-commerce businesses, market behavior is usually that they've seen a lot of agencies, they've compared options, they are more skeptical, they are price sensitive, burnt before. I always hear that my clients have been burnt before. Well, then your offer approach needs to be, strong proof, clear positioning, an entry offer, low risk, low price, usually like an audit, so they can see that you know what you're talking about, right? Or some sort of sprint that you do one off for a lower price and then get them in. So they pay you at least something so you can easily sell them on something after that if they've seen that you gotten the results. This is something I've done a lot in the e-commerce space where I had a tough time getting clients. And then what I did is I just did an audit for them. I asked 250 euros for that audit. I got my ad specialist to pretty much do the entire ad audit. They paid me 250 and then I upsold them to pretty much any different offer that I have on the back end, right? So when it comes to that, you also need a simple and specific promise, and sometimes so a low friction entry point, which will give you the easiness to actually get them to your core offer after that, and then upsell them to something because they would have already built the trust with you. They would have seen that you know what you're talking about, right? So that could be, as I said, the audit or a small setup. Then you go to the retainer, and then you do a performance-based fee when you want to scale them with these systems, right? So, for example, in the less saturated markets, an example of this could be construction developers, legal niches, premium B2B services, industrial businesses, and there they have usually like less market, there's fewer steps because expertise sells itself. You come in as the expertise and you sell that expertise, you sell the outcome based on their, knowledge pretty much of not knowing what offers are there in the market, so you can sell more easily. So usually what we do then is we do a setup fee plus a retainer, a little bit of a longer contract if they're open for it, 6 months or 12 months, premium positioning, and then expand through upsells later. So we start usually with lead generation. It can be a one-time build for a website, but we usually start with the retainer for management, and then we upsell them pretty much after that for anything on websites, SEO, if you go that direction, to add that to your market. So you want to structure your funnel, your offer funnel to match the trust level of your market. And when you do that, you're going to win. And that's how I scaled my real estate agency, my e-commerce agency, and now scaled my coaching agency to the point where with real estate agents, I had a retainer plus a small performance. With e-commerce, I mainly had only a retainer, and I added the performance on top with a percentage of profit of all the sales that they make to the products sold on their Shopify website. And then with coaching agency, I do a setup plus a retainer plus performance. So it kind of, went full circle for us. But I want to tell you that with every single niche, I almost had a different type of thing that I did when my offer comes about, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Now, when it comes down to when mid-ticket might make sense, right? So we talked about the entry point. It makes more sense in a saturated niche, whereas with a less saturated niche, you can go more into a retainer. Or if you have big proof, you can go into a retainer plus a setup or a retainer plus a performance. So when mid-ticket, in my opinion, makes sense is that you do that. For example, if you go to, you want to have a smoother entry in a less saturated niche, well, then it actually makes sense to put them into your core offer pretty much immediately, because this is especially, I would say, relevant in saturated, when it comes down to like saturated markets, it's more tougher to do that, right? So in less saturated market, you can go more easily into the mid-ticket or into the high ticket because there's not that much trust that needs to be built. In saturated niches, you need that proof to be able to actually justify that price with them. So you need proof builders, or you need an entry point in saturated niches. And we want to go into it when we can actually go ahead and guide them into something specific so they can actually provide us with the core offer and the core fee that we would like to ask for our service. Now, in my opinion, the typical use case is that when the prospect is not ready for a full retainer, and when you want to prove value first, you don't go for the retainer. You pretty much go for the mid-ticket. And when the mid-ticket comes, you choose something that's between 250 euros and 2K. That can be an audit between 500 to 1K. So you do 1 or 2 sessions with them and you provide them a full document through Claude or chat, and then give them a full document assessment on what they could improve from what you've seen, right? In terms of their ad account or their website or their CRO, whatever, or their meta ads account, whatever, or their social media if you do social media services. The strategy sprint could be something that you do for 2 weeks. You build something intensively for 2 weeks for them. Could be a funnel build out, a CRO product page, whatever, to get them to pay you. Because the moment someone pays, they build initial trust because they would have given you something that's of theirs, right? So you build that connection with them on a different level. It's always easier to sell a client that's already paid on something new than to sell a client that's never paid with you something on something completely new, right? So the setup could be a one-time build. If they want something built, you can build at one time without any retainer on top. Or you could do a mini retainer, like a little bit of a retainer to do something minimal, but to still get them the results. These initial things on mid-ticket only make sense when we want to get that initial foot through the door in a niche that has been untapped by us, or that's so saturated that they just don't want to pay you a high-ticket retainer or a high-ticket setup fee or a high-ticket performance, right? So it's pretty much just the way that we use mid-ticket in agency space, in my opinion, is to get the entry point. That's the only reason why we do mid-ticket. We get the entry point to be able to sell them to our core offer, or we get the entry point to be able to sell them to the premium offer. And when we do that, it gives us leverage, so we get that initial trust from them to be able to sell them on something that we actually want them to go to, right? So that is when we do mid-ticket, and that is when that would make sense. So to summarize the agency route before we go to the coaching route is, in my opinion, the best practical way to go in the agency is, as we said, dependent on your niche, right? But the initial thinking that we need to do is that for most of you as an agency owner, the path is pretty simple. You start with one niche and one strong result-driven core offer. That's it, right? We don't look too much on upsells, downsells, all these things. And you sell it through, I would recommend, a retainer or a setup plus retainer model. And if you really cannot do it, you do the retainer plus performance model and you play a little bit with the retainer, right? So those are the core ones. I would actually go about and say retainer or retainer plus performance and then setup plus retainer. These two, the retainer and the retainer plus performance, will be the best ones, but you can play around a little bit with them. The retainer one is better for coaching and e-commerce, And the retainer plus the commission plus the performance is better for local businesses, I would say, because you can play with the cost per lead. You can play with the lead, pretty much the price per lead that they're going to pay you. So again, you choose one offer, right? One offer plus one niche. You pick one market, build one clear offer, nothing else. And then you could go ahead and have the retainer or the setup model. You choose the pricing model, start generating revenue, and then when you do that, or maybe you're already in a position that you do that, you can have entry offers, upsells, systems, whatever. In my opinion, what I would do is, if I would start, let's say in a local business, right? I would pretty much go and say, I will do lead generation for you. You will pay me a fixed monthly retainer of, let's say, 750 to start off with, if I were to completely begin. And then would say you would pay me about 25 euros per qualified lead. And then on the back end, I will sell you a website. We can build a website with you, but we'll do that as an additional service. And then we can scale the ads from there and then keep the website and do website management or hosting or SEO on that, but completely delegated or automated, right? And over time, this will create a full ecosystem, because that way you can scale, because you want to have a scalable offer. You don't want to preferably have a managing offer, which is mainly, I would say, content. I want to go to something that has a clear ROI-driven result from it, right? ROI-driven offers, as we talked about. So we want to productize it, standardize delivery, and then scale it. And the mistake that most people make is they have too many services immediately. They have too many niches and too many customizations. So to give you an idea, all the agencies that I had, I did one core offer, and I was able to scale them all between 30 to 70K a month. All of them, right? Easily. Because it was one offer that clients needed. I sold the outcome. And then I could do the upsells, which got me the bottom line to add on top of that, which were websites or recruitment. Those were the only things. That's it, right? And if you were to have a website agency, you could sell them onto websites on the front end, build them the website, and then downsell them with the extra layer, right? With the upsell or downsell into hosting, SEO, maintenance, and Google Ads, for example, if you want to go that route. If you do meta ads, you can sell them on meta ads and then a website, and then an ongoing management fee for the meta ads, for example. And then they pay you per lead. Right? So very simple and very clear. One niche, one offer, one channel. Once you've done that and you've automated that and set it up to a level where you're doing 10K, 15K, 20K, then we're going to be looking at adding entry level offers or upsells like websites or anything on the back end to increase your bottom line, squeeze everything out of the niche that we can, because it's already proven if you make 10 to 20K that the niche is working, that the offer is working. So the only thing we need to do then is, if we cannot squeeze more out of the offer, we add another offer that can give us more bottom line and increase our bottom line revenue. Right? So one system, then expand, not everything at once, because otherwise you're going to be overloading yourself too much. Pretty much that it's not needed. We don't want to go that direction initially. So if you're an agency owner and you're watching this, please go to now the end of the pretty much the slides of or the presentation or this video. After the coaching and consulting will be somewhere about like maybe 45 minutes after this, or 30 minutes to take a look at. Skip through that. Unless you want to learn also about the coaching, consulting, course creator route, then stick with me and I'm going to take you through that as well, so you can get an idea of how you can do that too. So I hope this was valuable. Let's now continue on the coach and consultant course creator route. So if you are a coach, consultant, or course creator, your path is completely different than from the agency, from the agency people that I talked about. The structure is different. The path is different, the deliverables are different, the outcome that you sell is usually different. So I'm going to specify that for you as we did for the agency people as well. So in the model of coaching, course creation, or just consulting in general, what people think they buy is that they buy coaching calls or information or content or advice or mentorship. In my opinion, people don't buy that. Whenever they talk with a coach, whenever you go to a coaching business, in my opinion, and all of the, let's say, almost 600, 700 people that we've helped in our coaching business, if you were to go to ask them, did you buy the coaching? They would say, yeah, but not really. What they actually bought was the transformation, the clarity, the certainty, the accountability, the strategy, the shifting in identity, the implementation, the access to a proven path, because otherwise it would cost them a lot of time to figure it out themselves. Again, they are buying the outcome, my friends. They are not buying the thing that you do. Nobody gives a shit about what is being done. The deliverable is just a proven way to get them to their outcome. That's it. And that's what we sell. And that's what should be in the offer. We sell the transformation. And the bigger the transformation and the better we do it with the value equation in mind of Hormozy, as we said, the better it's going to be for them to convert eventually. Okay? So the weak versus strong framing is something that is crucial when it comes down to your offer. Crucial. When we say, I help you grow, or I mentor entrepreneurs, or we say I help people unlock their potential, or I say I give support, I coach people and give them support and guidance, or I heard this one yesterday, I'm a life coach. I say, well, you will no, and then I go to their Instagram bio and their bio says something like helping you become your best self, or business and mindset coach, or helping entrepreneurs scale. And in my opinion, these things are just completely vague. Like I have no idea who you're targeting and what you're doing and who you're helping do what with what system. I have no idea. It's just completely vague for me. It doesn't click in my head. Now, I want you to compare that, what I said, to something more stronger offers. So for example, I help dads that are between 28 to 55 get more clarity in their life, more structure and clear-headedness pretty much in their life, more compliance also with their partner or their spouse through my method that's specific to these dads. Now the method can be a name or a mechanism or whatever. But that sentence already is completely different than I help dads. I help dads get more freedom. It's too vague. We got to make it more specific. So we go more specific. In a one sentence line, we should be able to say, I help this specific person get this specific result through this specific system. And when we do that, then we're more clear towards the niche, what we are actually doing and what transformation we're selling, right? So when it comes to these things, it's super important that you understand the differences in mentioning the things and getting that across to people. Again, I'll give you another example. Let's say you're in the wealth and business coaching space. We would say, I help agency owners go from 10K to 50K a month. So that's the transformation, the result, using a predictable client acquisition system. Or I help coaches sign 5 to 10 high-ticket clients per month through a VSL funnel and ads. That's for the wealth space. Now the health space, fitness coaching space. I help busy entrepreneurs, right? We can even go more specific, like men. I help busy male entrepreneurs lose 10 to 15 kg without giving up their lifestyle. Or I help women fix their hormones and regain energy through a structured nutrition system. Or with relationships and dating and coaching or whatever. I help men build confidence and attract high quality relationships without using dating apps. Or I help couples rebuild trust and improve communication in 90 days. Do you see the difference? The difference is that the stronger the offer, the clearer the transformation. The clearer the transformation, the easier it is for people to understand what you do, to build trust with you, to feel spoken to when they see that, and to buy because they feel talked to instead of you talking generic. You hit the nail on the head when it comes down to specific, being specific towards them. That's what people love. And when you do that, well, then you sell. And then you create an offer that actually works, right? Now, in my opinion, you as a coach, any type of coach, unless you work with people that are, and I see this a lot from people that are especially in the health and fitness space, because the health and fitness space, there's something about the health and fitness coaching space, because I used to be in that as well, and I used to be a personal trainer, and I saw that people are only on high ticket, or they want to go on high ticket, but they always pitch low ticket. They always do low ticket. Why? Because, well, these fitness apps are always cheap. These shakes are kind of been, made the niche a lot, very saturated, because people think with shakes they're going to lose weight, which is the biggest hoax ever. So by them thinking that, it creates a problem for us as coaches within the fitness space to sell high ticket. But it's just a perception. You're selling to the wrong people. You're selling to the people that want a low ticket. The right people will buy the high ticket. So that's something I saw in the fitness space. I saw it also in the dating space and also in the wealth and business coaching space. But I think what is very important for you to understand, okay, is that we want to have a core offer, which is high ticket, because that's usually the strongest entry point. The transformation is often so valuable that we got to find the thing to showcase to people, and we'll do that in a pricing module. It's so valuable. The expertise matters. The economics allow you to grow the business properly instead of relying on volume. And if you're watching this, I probably think that you're in this one-on-one situation. You're doing one-on-ones, maybe, right? And a lot of you start naturally with one-on-ones. And if you're, as I said, watching this, you're probably doing one-on-ones, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. It's fine to do one-on-ones, but it's just not scalable. It's good because it helps you understand the market, it sells it quicker, but over time, being dependent on one-on-ones, it starts to limit you. It caps your time, it caps your income, it caps pretty much your ability to be able to scale. And that's why, in my opinion, strong coaching businesses, now I'm not only referring to mine, but also other ones, even in the fitness space, they sell high ticket. They moved to more leverage models like group coaching or hybrid programs or structured systems with support where they're not centralized between them through doing one-on-one. And we'll get into this into a second. But I want to get to the bottom line of you doing actually high ticket. All right. In my opinion, clients don't care about the one-on-one or group. They care about one thing. Am I getting the result? Am I going to be taken care of? How fast am I getting it? Right? So if your system is strong and your support is there, then there should be no reason, and the path is clear, then there should be no reason why people would be okay with going to a group setting as long as they feel taken care of, right? And I'm moving forward. So the goal is not to hold on to one-on-ones, which is what I'm trying to say, because a lot of people think, well, if I do a high ticket, I need to do one-on-ones. I hear that so often. If I do a high ticket, I need to do one-on-ones. It doesn't mean that. We do high ticket, we almost do no one-on-ones in advance and our starter programs. Why? How? Well, because the support is on it, because we actually make sure that everyone is handled with either 10 sessions a week, or they go to us and then we help them by one-on-one support, right? So the goal, what I want you to understand, is that it's to build a structure where results happen consistently, whether that's in one-on-one, group, or hybrid, because that's what allows you to scale without breaking your time. All the models on one-on-one will always cap your time. So they don't care, keep in mind, clients don't care about format. They care about results and speed. And the outcome what we want to have is we want to have more leverage, better margins, scalable growth, and predictable deliverability. That's what we want to have. Because with one-on-one, it's very tough to do that. Very tough. Okay, so we see a problem, we shift our way of going to pretty much the outcome-based thing, and then we base our deliverables on that. And that's it. So let's now get into the delivery models of the coaching and course creating route. Again, we talked about it already. One-on-one, which is very direct, personal, and time heavy, right? And in my opinion, it's the easiest to sell, but the most flexible, but it allows for high customization and direct support, but it doesn't scale the system long term. Just in my opinion, being honest with you, it honestly just doesn't give you the flexibility to be able to grow, right? So that's why many coaches, they switch to group coaching, or they do a hybrid group coaching and one-on-one, which is the third thing that I mentioned. Whereas they do some one-on-ones as an initial kickstart, and then they do group after that, which is a fine model to uphold, don't get me wrong. But it's, in my opinion, still one which will limit you in terms of time, because you would have like either a client success manager that can do the one-on-ones eventually, or do the group coaching. And if you do it yourself, you'll be completely like torn with time in the ability to scale. Now, again, I'm talking about scalability on levels where we have 50 clients, 100, 200 clients, 300 clients. These are the levels we're talking about if you want to scale the business to, as I said, like 50K or 100K a month. Now, we have the consulting route, which is the high-level advisory, which should only be added, right? Which is more strategic and more focused on advising rather than guiding step by step. It's a little bit of difference than with group coaching. So it's like really like going in with them one-on-one. And the last one, in my opinion, is the community one, right? Which is you have, for example, the course plus coaching one, right? Or the community-based models where education is combined with accountability in a group form and implementation support. You can think of it like, for example, the people that have problems with alcohol or alcohol addiction, they go into these groups, right? They sit into these groups because there's peer pressure, accountability, all these things to make them be a sink and then pretty much not do the thing that, or stop with the thing that they're trying to stop with. Now, in my opinion, one thing what you'll see is kind of a combination of all these things. Now, most businesses follow the one-on-one, but the model depends on what you do. So for example, one-on-one, it's good early stage, building proof, but it's tough on scale. Like you're gonna have so many problems on scale. I've never seen someone scale one-on-ones, in my opinion. The only way that they've scaled it, but again, they've capped as well, so they haven't actually scaled it. They scaled it to maybe 30, 40K a month, but they keep on doing one-on-ones with clients and they stay as the client delivery person themselves. The only way to go from 30, 40K to 200K is to have people that can do it on behalf of you and do it as good as you. And that's the toughest thing to find in business. So it's very hard. The group one is a proven system, repeatable. It's if you know something about, like, for example, Sam Ovens, he used to have like different programs and these were all group coaching, right? Group coaching in combination with the community. And this one is less personalization, and also gives people more time that they need to wait. But if they're active in the community and they pretty much follow the process like you are watching this program, and they put the messages down in the community, well, then there's big odds that they're going to get the help that they need. But again, it becomes dependent on them. If they don't do that, if they don't stay consistent with it, there's going to be friction, and they're going to say, oh, I'm not going to get the help that I need, because they're going to be waiting in the coaching calls. So you need to set the expectations right, that they need to message you pretty much in a specific place. We do it in school, but that they need to message you in a specific place, and that there needs to be an answer for them to pretty much be able to do this. Okay? Hybrid, again, scaling phase, you can scale it more, but there's more complexity that comes to it because you combine the one-on-one, so you need to have tailored one-on-ones to these people. And consulting is more advanced clients, is the highest, the premium package that we want to sell when it comes down to coaching. So for the wealth and business space, in my opinion, most coaches also start with one-on-one, right? And then move into group programs where they teach a system to multiple clients, and later you can add like a premium one-on-one or like a mastermind. That's usually in the business space, in the wealth space. In the health space, what I see is that coaches often begin with personal coaching, then they transition into group programs or challenges, and where they guide multiple clients through the same transformation process. And in relationship coaching, what I've seen is that coaches move from one-on-one sessions into either structured programs where they do hybrid group coaching, communities, or some sort of like group environment where people can go through the same journey themselves, right? And the pattern is always the same. As I said, we start with one-on-one, then we validate that, then we systemize it, then there comes a group, so you want to have the group feeling, then there's scale from that group, and then you add the premium layers pretty much to be able to upsell them to a higher level. Now, you might be asking yourself, Stefan, great information, but what model fits me? Well, we're going to get into that, but the best model for you depends on how complex the transformation is. If people need a big transformation, it might be worth doing one-on-one. If people need high-level skills, they might need one-on-one, yes. But even in those cases, we would ask the question, why? Because we want to make the minimum viable product, as I told you, minimum viable offer. We don't want to just do something to do something, and we want to productize it. Because if you think about it, if you've told someone one-on-one what to do, well, would there be other people joining your program that are in the same situation as that person? Well, probably yes. So then probably we can systemize it, make an SOP out of it, and they can follow it, right, with guidance. So that's how we want to scale your business. That's how we want to get into it. And we're going to be doing that with you in the offer structure as well. So to continue, in my opinion, group coaching is by far the most superior. As with agencies, we talked about, in my opinion, retainer being the most leverageable. Retainer plus performance, I would say. In this case, for you as a coach or course creator or consultant, group coaching wins. Why? Well, group coaching has the highest leverage. You can serve many people without more time. And the thing is, and the fun fact is, if you have a great community, people will be, and great culture, people will be helping each other on those Q&A calls. They will be assisting each other on those Q&A calls. They will be talking with each other. So you get kind of a mastermind feeling. That's the best thing you can have. And it's scalable. Your revenue grows, you can handle more clients than when you were to do one-on-one, because one-on-one you would cap yourself. You would have a limit of the amount of calls you could do, and at a certain moment you will say, oh, I'm doing this so much, I'm doing the same thing all the time. It's like you can just package it in either a Q&A as a group form or into modules like what I'm doing here right now. There's a community effect, as I said, the mastermind effect. It's built in social proof, because if a client comes on a call, they're going to say, well, I got this win, I got these clients, and you're going to be like, congrats, and what other wins did you have? And then other people are going to hear it. So if they were demotivated, then they're going to hear this client getting results, and they're going to be like, well, I can get results too, and let me become more excited. Maybe they came into the call a little bit like demotivated because they maybe didn't get results or whatever, and then they hear someone else, and someone else says like, yeah, I've been getting results, and then they get amped up and motivated. So there's built-in social proof unconsciously, and there's better margins because you have lower cost per client served. Again, you can serve more clients, exponentially more clients, compared to if you were to do one-on-one, because you're limited on time. There's just only one Stefan, right? It's limited. So, oh yeah, and by the way, they can watch the group coaching calls back. They can watch it back and get the information back, right? So that's another thing. So in my opinion, the support stack would be a group program, core delivery for all clients, an optional one-on-one as a premium layer, and an async support with either Looms, chats, and community Q&As. And if you were to ask me which community platform is the best, in my opinion, I'm kind of biased because I love School. I've been using School for a long time, and we've had a setup where we've used Slack for people, and then we use Discord since recently, but we switched that. I love School the best. Now, again, Will we stay with school forever? I don't know. I just like Hormozy and I like Sam Ovens. So hence, I've been with them for a long time. I know what they do and how they do it. But if I were to look at outside and not be biased and all these things, I would look at Circle. I think Circle is a great platform. I think it also has potential. But I think School has the superior edge because it's tailored to similar to Facebook groups. And I think the layout of Facebook groups, back in the day, I used to have a Facebook group like 6 years ago for the first Blueprint members that joined then. And it was amazing. I think it was great in terms of the layout. Now, Facebook started adding a lot of different things and then it just got scattered. But School is very lean, it's minimalistic, and I like that. You know, it's very simple for people to interact and do things and get notifications and all these things. And you can even host like Zoom calls in School itself without needing Zoom, which is a great thing to have as well. So people would think group is like lower value because there's no personalization. But in my opinion, it's leveraged transformation because there's all these components that come to look at the group one being better if we structure it the right way. So we continue. Let's go into one-on-one versus group because that's something that a lot of you guys will be asking me, and in making your offer, you will be thinking about it. And you might ask yourself like, okay, Stefan, so why should I go with a group if I'm doing one-on-one right now and I'm charging a high ticket? Well, I would say tell you, just charge the same thing, but just add group. So if you are doing one-on-one, yes, it's highly personal, but I would still add a group coaching call every single week, at least one a week, and then instruct people to go there. Because even if you have only 1 or 2 clients and they go to a group, it will already be more valuable for the 2 people because they'll learn from the other people. And if they say they want things personalized, when then you haven't coached them the right way, you haven't given them the right expectations to go into the group and learn from other people. That's what your onboarding should be for. You should onboard them in a way that they should understand that it's actually beneficial for them to be in a group. So again, one-on-one is where we start. It's great for getting proof. It's working closely with clients and helping them through more complex or highly personalized situations, but it also carries a higher perceived value because of the direct attention and customization. And the downside is simple. It's not scalable. We cannot scale it. It's pretty much a fixed structure on groups, so it makes it easier, where this one is flexible. The time on this one is time heavy. The group is scalable. The revenue ceiling is that you're capped by hours on one-on-one, and that the group is uncapped, right? And the delivery cost is high per client. You got to put in a lot of time and effort for every single client, every single time. And the group is a low effort per client, where they can still get results. Now, we've been able to scale a program back in the day with more than 350 people in the program at a 3K price point. It was lifetime, with 2 group coaching calls a week. That's it. Not 5, not 10, no one-on-ones, just all group coaching. That's it. And we had modules that were the onboarding modules, and we scaled it that way. People were the happiest ever. We had an amazing product, an amazing thing. So I noticed that when we try to add more things, we usually don't solve the core root problem. We just solve one thing and we just stitch the wound pretty much. But instead of us stitching the wound, we should be focusing on actually healing the entire thing. And you only do that by not giving too much, but giving only what's needed. And that's when the happiness comes, because the moment you start giving a hand, they want the entire arm. And when you're already giving them an entire arm, it gets very tough to pull that back. So in my opinion, when group coaching works the best is when clients are not directly competing with each other. So one thing that I had recently with someone else is that if you're coaching a broad group where clients are very similar, potentially also competing with each other, like for example, let's say you coach e-commerce agencies doing CRO, group coaching, in my opinion, can become less efficient. In those cases, I would have specific group calls for only specific people, and where you make sure that they're not fishing in the same, pretty much in the same water, if that makes sense. So they might not share everything on calls. They might hold back because they might hear people doing the same thing, right? So in those situations, one-on-one or hybrid could make sense, right? And in most cases, group coaching is, in my opinion, where the leverage is, because the best approach for many businesses is that we're going to use group coaching as the core, right? And layer in optional one-on-ones if it's needed. So in that way, you can get scalability without sacrificing the client experience. So in my opinion, if you're currently doing one-on-one and you want to go off of it, you want to scale the business, keep the one-on-one, right? Keep that, but add the group. Add a 1 or 2 times a week group session. With you, they can talk to you, they can get the expertise, and you're going to see that you're slowly going to be shifting towards a group one if you have the school program as well, additionally, right? Now this goes for you again. If you have a low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket, essential one, everything. This counts for the exact same thing. You don't gotta make things different. It goes for the same thing. But in the low ticket, in my opinion, I would never do a one-on-one on low ticket offers. Never. Unless it's a one-off consulting, then I would do. But I wouldn't charge low ticket. I would charge maybe 200 or 250 for it, right? And again, on your mid ticket, I would go and give them a specific like coaching session or all these things. One-on-ones, not necessarily. I would only do one-on-ones on high ticket. So on high ticket, I would do one-on-one plus group in the beginning until you scale it, and then one-on-ones get capped. Remove that, leave it only optional, keep the group, scale it with the community as well. And then the Ascension pack should be also hybrid one-on-one and group. So high ticket and Ascension and premium, one-on-one and group. Mid ticket, preferably only group, to give them incentive to go to the high ticket or the premium. And low ticket, nothing, in my opinion. Only maybe just only group once a week, maybe max. That's what we have with our low ticket offer, which is 125 a month. They only get 1 or 2 coaching sessions a week, which is not with people that are in the C-suite. It's with people that are pretty much in the business, working in the business in For Your Success. Okay, so again, the question then comes: when does mid ticket then make sense, right? Because we're talking about high ticket and premium, but when does mid ticket or low ticket make sense? Well, with mid ticket, in my opinion, just being very honest, it can be very powerful. As I said, we had a client called Sophia Meyer who scaled her mid ticket, which was 1K, lifetime access, teaching people how to start a business model. She scaled it to 300K a month. Now scaling it to 400K, but she has a high ticket one, which is 2.5K. And it's especially useful, in my opinion, when you have an audience that is still a little bit colder, when people need more trust before committing, or you don't have enough social proof, and they need something. You need some sort of step, some sort of build-up step between your free content that you're putting out and your core offer that is high ticket, right? So it can also help you build the belief, qualify the serious buyers, monetize a larger part of the audience. And this could be, for example, a workshop. It could be a 3-month program. It could be a short challenge, paid boot camps. But the key to understand is that it will, in my opinion, it's very tough to keep a mid ticket. It's doable to scale it depending on what niche you're in, but it's very tough to make it the main thing as the core offer. The core transformation, in my opinion, should always stick at high ticket. Okay. Now, again, if you have a niche, I also have people that are active in the anxiety coaching space, or in a space where people have more friction to pretty much pay, then you could start off with a mid-ticket one and you build it up, right? But preferably, I've seen in every single niche that it's doable to charge high ticket if you have your offer locked in and if you have your sales locked in. If you dial those things in pretty much, in my opinion, it will be way easier to sell high ticket, and you wouldn't even need a mid ticket or a low ticket. Okay, so think of the mid ticket as pretty much, and that's what I put down here, think of it as supporting the core offer, the core high ticket offer, a filter for clients, and also a way to build belief before the bigger decision, right? So if you use it correctly, it will strengthen the entire ecosystem. If you use it incorrectly, it will create confusion. That's my honest view on mid ticket. Okay, so that being said, we have the offer ladder. Now, this is one thing that I was telling you in the beginning of the entire module, and that is pretty much is that we have different types of offers for different types of niches. So also, when it comes down to your offer and securing the best possible way of doing it, we can start with a low ticket one, but it also very much depends on like which route you want to go to, right? So for example, for us, I'll give you an example. We have free content, of course, which is we used to have a free community, but we now have, of course, the YouTube channel and everything that we have on the free content side in the Instagram and lead magnets and all these things. The mid-ticket or low-ticket can be something, whereas, for example, we have Tribe to Success. It's 125 a month. And then that way people can start with that if they don't have the budget to go into our higher tier offers, and they get 2 sessions a week with us, but not with the C-suite, so not with the C-level managers. And then the mid-ticket can also be something, for example, where it's an entry offer and it's doable for them to join, which it could be like 1K or 1.5K, and they get access for example 3 months. Then they can learn how to do a business or which direction they want to go to, and then that ascends them into our core high ticket offers, which initially are pretty much usually the done with you services, the VIP things, the private consulting. It can even be like I've seen core high ticket offers go for 9K that are masterminds as well, right? And it's kind of similar to how we do it, right? So we have a core transformation happening inside a structured program, right? Then for clients who want more speed, leverage, and execution, we move them onto the VIP one, which is now our mastermind, which goes for 30K a year, 3K a month, right? That's Business Blueprint Mastermind. And this way, when you create your offer, I'm not saying you have to do it, but you're probably starting already from some sort of point right now. Maybe the only thing that you need to change in your offer is a little bit of a price increase. And that's it, because if people are already buying your high ticket and you've already sold it effectively, and you can increase the value equation in whatever shape or form, you can increase the speed of delivery, you can increase the speed of results and lower the friction that the clients need to do to get results, well, then you can increase your price a bit, right? And by a bit, I mean by 500 euros, 1K, sometimes even 2K euros. You increase it and you sell it again for 5 times. That's for the high ticket. If you have a mid ticket that's selling right now, it might be good for you to think of a high ticket. If you have a low ticket right now, you should be thinking of a mid ticket or a high ticket. And if you have a premium, well, then you should be thinking of adding a high ticket one. So you can sell more clients in and have the scalability to help more people. So you don't have to only focus on delivery, because on the premium one, of course, the delivery from you is going to be the highest level. And if it's the highest level, then it means you got to provide a lot of things in order for them to get the results, right? Which can be good because you earn more, but it can also be capped. So the core high ticket offer should be scalable and the mid ticket offer should be scalable, right? And that's what we do. We have an entry level, and then the core, and then the ascension. So some of you might have only the core offer, and we want to keep that one. We don't want to change that one too much. We want to keep it, reduce complexity like one-on-ones, increase group, increase community, increase culture building, increase lifetime value and retention. And when we do that, we can then add an entry if needed, if we're seeing that we're maximizing the market. If we're getting all the people in the market and people are not joining anymore, then we capped it out, then we add an entry. But preferably, we would never add an entry before we add an ascension. So for us as well, for example, we have Business Blueprint Advanced, that's our core offer. Now we're adding the Mastermind. That's the one that we're going to be focusing on because it brings the highest yield. On the side, we would have Starter, of course, but Tribe, our low ticket, is just there to be there. It's just there to disqualify people and get them to that place so they can, at least we can get some cash flow in, but not do much with it, right? So we want to just keep it, retain it, and that's it. We don't want to do more with it if it's not needed, okay? So that's what you got to understand when it comes down to your core offers. Your core engine should be the high ticket transformation. And if you haven't sold at least 3 to 5 people on that, we don't talk about reducing, increasing the price. We keep it the same. We try to sell that, and that's the main thing we're going to be using for the ads or the outreach or the content. Now, the other offers that you're going to have are going to be just an addition. So the low ticket and the mid ticket are just an entry point for your high ticket, and the ascension is going to be something that we're going to be using to upsell people that are going from your core offer to that one to get more yield from that. So I hope that makes sense. Now, in the worksheet that I'm going to be giving you, there are going to be some things regarding the core offer. And what we're going to be doing for the core offer is we're going to be answering a couple of questions. So who is this for? What exact problem, right? Because we need to know the problems. What result do they want? What system? What's the mechanism? How long does it take? The speed to result, as we were talking about Hormozy as well. What support exists? What should they, why should they trust this compared to other people? Is there proof? Is there examples? Do we do things differently than other people? Why now? What's the urgency? What's the relevance? And the more clear we go on this, the more specific it's going to be, and the easier it's going to be to sell. Because again, keep in mind, a clear, concrete transformation is much easier to sell than a vague one. We don't want a vague one, we want a clear one, right? Now, the route for you as a coach when it comes down to your framing is probably the most important thing, the core thing that you need to understand as a coach. If you don't frame it well, and as I said in the beginning, well, if you just say, I help coaches grow, like it says here, instead of saying, I help coaches get 5 to 10 calls a week via VSL funnels, your positioning already is going to be very wrong and very tough to sell on the ads, and very tough to sell on your landing page, and very tough to sell on your VSL, very tough to sell when you talk to clients in the sales calls. Again, I help women lose weight. stronger is, I help women lose this amount of weight, so 10 to 15 kg sustainably in 90 days. I help entrepreneurs scale. I help six-figure founders build a team and exit operations. I do marketing. I generate 20 to 40 qualified leads a month for med spas, for example. Or I help you as a med spa, I coach you as a med spa, do this amount to get this result. It's the same thing, the same skill, but it's different positioning. You see, so it's a different result. And that builds trust. That creates pretty much clarity for people. So we want to create clarity when we talk about this. Another one of the examples that I have with one of my clients, in the beginning, she came to us and she said, I help women lose weight. So I built this one for her. But on top, what I also did, I told her, let's make it more specific. I help women between 30 to 55 lose weight, fix hormonal imbalances, regain control over their body without crash diets or constant recipes or relapses. Same niche, different clarity. Here's another one. Let's say I help founders with mindset. We help C-level people and entrepreneurs that are between 30 and 45 remove subconscious limitations so they can scale their business with clarity, speed, and internal stability without burnout or self-sabotage. It goes from vague mindset coaching to specific internal bottleneck and fixing business growth. Or I help agencies grow. No, we help recruitment agencies generate a predictable flow of candidates through LinkedIn without relying on job boards or recruiters. So it's not growth now, it's a specific system solving a specific problem. And these are all examples that I set up with people one-on-one in the calls. Another one, I help businesses with AI. You can use OpenClaw like this. You can use Claude like this. We're not doing that. I help agencies, coaches, and course creators that are doing between 10K to 100K a month install AI systems that will generate them anywhere from 5 to 20 clients and remove manual bottlenecks so they can scale without hiring more people. Clear outcome, clear mechanism, clear reason to buy. And it's always the same. You can see it. There's the weak offers talk about support and potential and mindset and I don't know, whatever they talk about. Strong offers talk about the specific person. This is you. This is the specific problem. This is the specific result. This is the specific system. This is the specific outcome. Positioning. That's what it comes down to. And that's what I would want for you to use when you go into your offer document and start creating it. Okay? Now, the pricing logic, and I'm not going to stand too much still on the pricing logic because the pricing logic is, in my opinion, something that we'll keep for the next module. We're going to talk in depth about pricing, how to price group coaching one-on-one. And for now, the most important thing is for you to understand which direction you can take and how you can optimize your offer based on the worksheet I'm going to give you. And in the worksheet, there's also going to be more clarification. So don't worry if now it might seem like, okay, what can I do, Stefan? Just take the information in and use it for your own offer document. Now, the pricing logic, again, we're going to base it on what is the value of the outcome. What is it worth to them, the result? What is the cost of the problem? What does not solving it cost? What's the opportunity cost? The difficulty of solving, how hard is this to do alone? And confidence in results, how certain are you of delivery? Okay? Low price, in my opinion, showcases low trust, right? It should never be about how much hours you put in. It should never be about the fear of rejection or competitors charge. Oh, my competitors charge this, so I'm going to go lower. No. We don't charge based off that. We charge based on, again, what did we talk about on the niche? We talk about based on the market's needs and problems and desires and our ability to fill the gap for them to go to their current situation, to their desired situation. That's what we base value and price on. We base it on the value of the problem solved, the value of the desired outcome, the difficulty of solving it, the speed of solving it, the confidence of your mechanism. That's what we base the price on. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next module. So just a little bit of a snippet in terms of what we're going to be doing. Now, you might be thinking, Stefan, I have a low ticket, mid ticket. How do I justify high ticket pricing? Or you're going to be thinking, I have a high ticket price and I have a hard time selling it and scaling it. How do I justify this? Well, the justification is about them needing to understand, they need to believe that it solves a real painful problem. It's not a nice to have. It's a must. They also need to understand that these results get them there faster. It's a shortcut they're buying. If they can buy a shortcut, if I can buy a shortcut, I would do it any day of the week. And it reduces risk. Proven path, not a test. Even if you don't have 300 clients, you should always say this is the proven path. Even if you have 1 or 2 clients that have done the path, it's a clear path because you've done it already before with other clients. Have that confidence. And this increases the probability of success with the system and support, and it is structured and proven, not improvised. So if any belief is missing, if any of these beliefs are not tackled, guess what happens? The price is too high. Guess what happens as well? I need to wait for it 2, 3, 4 weeks. Okay? If that's not a clear indication, then high ticket will not be justified. It's a big thing. So it's got to be justified by clarity. This is the proven process. This is exactly what we're going to do. This. Then this is the way that we're going to implement this with the right structure for you. We're going to share your screen, then we're going to take it over from you. We're going to help you in the group coaching. We're going to know how to do everything. Then there's the value. This is going to increase this by you because other people have done it. And then the certainty. The certainty is there because other people have done it before you. And I will be coaching you. I will be there 24/7 for you to help you, guide you. That's it. That's how you do it. So if this is not there, in high ticket, it's very tough to sell. High ticket is only about clarity and certainty, and that it matches what they actually need. You remove doubt and you remove objections by only handling these 5 things. Okay, and if it's not there, well, that's gonna be tough. So that summarizes the coaching route in the offers. Now for both routes, again, now we came back. So if you're an agency owner, welcome back. Or if you've listened to the coaching ones, great to have you here again. So the offer fit. Your offer works when the market, of course, wants it. If the market doesn't want it, I can be the best water bottle seller, but if people don't want water, I'm not going to sell it, right? So it's the easiest example for you to understand. The client needs to understand it. They need to understand that that's a water bottle, right? And that what it is and what it entails and why it's better. They value it. They're willing to pay for it, right? They're willing to pay for the thing that you can give them, and they can justify it based on the ROI, and they see the relevance. They feel like it's built for them. That's why in sales, the only thing I do is I tailor my presentations, not evergreen. I don't show evergreen things, ever. I only go into what they need. I don't ever do evergreen presentations. I don't want that. I want it to be specific to their needs. With the more specific we go, like we do with the Andromeda update on ads, maybe you've heard of it, we'll go into that in the ads modules. But we go specific. We go to this is you with this problem, and I want to give you this outcome, right? And I want to help you with that. So the offer fit means that they want it and they see it as a relevancy to their problems. When it's a mismatch on the offer, it creates a low conversions and a high objection. Always. Objections are always based on the offer. And then how you present the offer and how you connect the dots with the people that need the offer. But they maybe don't know yet that they need the offer. The offer fit is easy sale. Easy. Like you can easily sell them. And it's a strong retention. So it's shaped by the market, not by you, what you want to sell. People think the offer is shaped by what you want to sell. It's not about what you want to sell. It's not about your skills. It's not about what you want to sell. I can want to sell the water bottle, but people don't want the water bottle. So I don't sell it, right? So that's the thing. And then again, coming back to the point of the deliverables, people might think they need one-on-one coaching or whatever, and the personalization, but they don't need that. They don't want that. They want the outcome. I want the outcome of what the water bottle gives me, which is that it quenches my thirst, right? So that I drink it so I'm not thirsty anymore. So it is shaped through the market contact. That's how an offer is shaped, not by what you want. Market doesn't care about that, right? So it brings me to the saturation effect. Again, we talked about it as well, but in saturated markets, people have seen promises before. They've maybe been burnt before. So you need to have better positioning and proof and all these things that have the risk reversal and the clarity, because in less saturated markets, the specialization itself often carries more weight so that it's easier for you to actually go in there and then it sells itself. You don't even have to do that much. Just have a tailored offer for them that fits their needs, okay? So always ask yourself, how many similar offers, right, has this market already seen? How skeptical are they? And your offer should adapt to that market. In a low saturation market, it's easier. In a higher one, you need to have that expertise and you need to bring that across to them. If you don't do that, well, then it's going to be very tough on sales calls to get it over to them. And the only way to solve that is by solving their initial trust factor. And when you increase that, it becomes way easier. And you do that, again, by increasing all of those pillars that we talked about before. So there are 5 levers that you can pull. Again, 5 levers to improve any offer. That's what I was talking about before. It's the outcome. You strengthen the result. You make it more specific. You make it more desirable, more measurable. The outcome is this. This is what we do. This is what we're going to give you. The mechanism. What is the path? And not just naming the mechanism. I don't give a shit about the name of the mechanism. It can be called poop accelerator. I don't care. What I care about is how it can actually, what's the path of that thing? So from A to B, how does that path look? What am I going to do step by step? How are you going to guide me to the finish line? So the outcome should be the finish line. And you should be guiding me from A to Z to that. And the proof will add my trust so we can go there, which is the third thing. And the risk reduction can be guarantees, milestones, and refunds, but only used smartly. And that's something we'll come into in just a second. And then the speed. How quickly can we compress the timeline of that process to get you the results? So we pull one of these levers, it improves the offer. We pull all 5, your offer becomes irresistible. You get a $100 million offer, similar to Alex Ramosi. So you see how we improve the value. We don't improve the deliverables. I didn't mention anything about adding a deliverable. I just mentioned about the key things that will increase the outcome, that will increase the speed of the result, that will increase the risk reduction, that will increase the proof. All of these things carry more weight than anything else. And it's much more smarter to pull these levers than any other lever that you can pull on. Okay? Now, there's one section before we get into the worksheet that I want to just get into with you guys, and that is the bonuses or the guarantees and the scarcity, because I see so many people just trembling when it comes down to the offer, and when it comes down to the guarantees, and when it comes down to the adding the scarcity and all these things, because they've read 100 million offers and now they think they need to add like crazy types of guarantees to their offer, which in some cases, yes, it can work, but I'm going to be very honest with you. You are watching this right now, and probably you didn't even have a guarantee with us. Now, maybe you've seen it on the front end. That's a marketing thing. We're going to talk about that in the messaging. But the differentiation fact on the bonuses and guarantees and scarcity is that it can all help. They can all help you do a specific thing which we want. Now, Hormosi's official framework, offer framework, it explicitly includes bonuses, guarantees, and scarcity. But it doesn't mean you should force fake urgency or reckless guarantees, right? And it means you should understand the role of these elements. So bonuses, they're made to increase perceived value without changing the core product. That's a bonus. So for example, in my school modules, when you watch the modules, you could get access to the different phase. So you watch the modules, you make a post, you get interaction, boom, you go to the next phase. That could be a bonus. And you get something. You get like a template or an audit or like a bonus session with me. That's a bonus. Guarantee is that it reduces risk and increases confidence. So you remove the fear of wasting money. In my opinion, guarantee should only be used when you have a mid-ticket or a low high-ticket offer, because usually the people that want this are the people that don't have the money and they look for a backup safety net and they're not as confident into actually joining it. So it should only be used to attract the clients towards them. Actually implementing it in an offer is a completely different story, because you should only use it not to shoot yourself in the foot, and when it's actually something that you think would be necessary to get a client in. Right? Because sometimes people, they want to negotiate with you and they want to squeeze everything out of you. As we talked about the agency model with the performance, clients want to negotiate. Like agency clients, they're going to say, no, I don't want to pay you nothing. If you're so confident about it, why don't you just don't have me pay nothing? Well, I'll tell you, my friend, that's not how life works. Life doesn't work with you coming to me and me doing everything for free and you just benefiting of it. That's not how it works. And in life, you don't have any safety nets. Now, the thing is, it can be applicable for something in the front end. But again, that's something we're going to be talking about in the later stages. Now, there's scarcity and urgency, and this will help people act when delay is the real danger. This is something that Robert Cialdini in the book Influence talks about. It should strengthen a real offer. They should not be used to cover up a weak one. So the offer should always be good. Preferably, we will not use these things, but if there's no other way in getting people, then we're going to use it in our messaging if needed. Preferably not, but if needed, we'll do that. So, summary: bonuses increase desire, guarantees remove fear, scarcity creates urgency. We can use all three in our offer, or at least in our messaging, to be able to get this message across to people so that they can actually understand what it will entail and why it should be beneficial for them to actually go into it, right? Now, if we go into the guarantees, I have a little bit of information for you that I would love for you to understand. Because this is the biggest one. The bonuses and the urgency, fine. It's good. We will, you can say like until, let's say for example, in my offer, we are going to be raising the prices until the 1st of June. And we only work with 10 people limited or something like that. That's what we're going to use in the offer. But in the guarantee, it's something that a lot of people like stumble on. And guarantees can be very powerful, okay? when they're used properly. So it's not there to save a weak offer. If your offer is weak, please don't do it, right? It is there to remove friction from a strong one, and only for people that have the tendency to not join because the market is so saturated that they would never click on an ad if they were not to see a guarantee, and if they didn't know you, if it was cold, right? And it's a very important distinction, because if the offer is already strong, the niche is right, the mechanism believable, and the proof is there, then a guarantee can increase the conversion by reducing perceived risk. And the churn on the guarantee will always be lower than 3% if you do it the right way. So it can create higher conversion, remove the objection, whatever. But if the offer is vague, if the niche is wrong, if the delivery is weak, if your offer is weak and it depends on too many things outside, and you're only dependent on that guarantee, well, then a guarantee can destroy your margins. It will attract bad clients. It will create operational chaos. I know this because like I've seen other people do it. For us, it's never had an issue because our delivery has always been good, and it's always been something that we've been strongly doing. So the principle is very simple. A guarantee should reduce buyer fear without increasing seller stupidity. So let me say that again. A guarantee should reduce buyer fear, so their fear of buying, without increasing seller stupidity. You shouldn't do it just to do it. It should be useful. It should be used in a certain increment, right? Only when it's needed to increase trust. And I've never, ever had a refund on a guarantee. Never, ever. Why? Because when it's framed in the right way, when you position it in the right way, there's no need for you to have a refund. And all of the clients that I let in my program, keep in mind what I say, I let them in my program. They don't join the program, I let them into the program. So I have this power type of feeling towards letting them in, because they cannot just join the program. You're not just going to join Blueprint Advanced. That's not how it works. You will join it, I will let you join it, and then I want to make sure that you're actually going to do the work and you're going to be coachable so that you actually can comply and get the results. If that's not the case, I'm going to downsell you. I'm not even going to try and sell you. Okay? So in my opinion, you are responsible for either giving them a guarantee or not and adding into your offer. Now, if your offer is already working without a guarantee, please keep it. Don't change it, right? And what Hormozy says in 100 Million Offers is that reversing the risk is one of the strongest ways to increase conversion, and that experienced marketers, put as much thought into the guarantee as they do into the deliverable themselves. Because the same summary also highlights that, the higher ticket and the more business oriented the offer is, the more you should move away from generic money back guarantees and toward more specific guarantees. And he talks about like different types of guarantees, which I will get into in a second. Actually, we'll get into that right now. There are 5 different ones. I'm not going to stay too much on these because I know it's important, but the only reason you would do this is if you're in a saturated niche, if it's tough to get people to buy on cold sales calls, and if you already have a good product on the back end. Otherwise, just skip this entire part. I'm being very honest with you. I don't want you doing a guarantee if you don't have those things in place. All right? So there's a few that he talks about. The first one is the unconditional money back guarantee. It's usually for low ticket offers and for courses. So it says it's a low risk level, but it's full refund. It's if we don't get you this result, if you're not happy, get your money back. And in my opinion, it works very good in low ticket offers and B2C. And we'll just get into it immediately. So it works when it comes down to, it works in low ticket offers, right? And I'll just explain them here. So the risk level is low, but if you do it on low ticket offers and you say, for example, I'm offering you a 47 euro low ticket offer and you're not happy, then you get a full refund. But it hurts more refunding it on a 10K or a fully built funnel because you've put the effort in. That's why Hormozy's framework leans more away from unconditional guarantees and more to customized, how more customized the offer becomes. The second one is the conditional guarantee, and this is usually the most intelligent type for service-based models like agencies and coaches. And it usually has a medium risk level, in my opinion, right? And it pretty much says refund if you complete all the steps and get no results, right? If you do everything and you get no results, then we will refund you. Which is one thing that we offer, but it's only dependent on if they actually do the thing that is needed. Now, the service one is the service guarantee, and the service guarantee only guarantees you pretty much what you control in the service. It has a low risk level because you say we redo the work until it's right. So you can, for example, say we will launch within 14 days, we will review every ad within 48 hours, you get clarity feedback on this, your funnel will be built by this time, and if you don't like it, we will redo the work until you're actually satisfied with it, right? And this is like a better one. It's a more safer one instead of like the flashy one, and it's instead of like the performance ones. So the performance one is more advanced and proven systems. It's high risk level, and it says only pay when you get results. And this is one that works very, very well, okay? But it's a tough one. I'm being very honest. So that's why I'm saying these things can be used more in the messaging, but not so much in the offer, because when you use them in the offer, you gotta have it sealed down on your delivery on the back end. But this one is also interesting to know. This one is pay only when you get results, right? So it means you'll get 20 qualified leads, you'll get 10 booked calls, you'll get 5 placements, you'll lose 3 kilograms within like a month, you get your first client in 60 days, and this is the most attractive one on paper because it's the most interesting one. And in my opinion, these ones should be used only when the backend is strong and the definitions are extremely clear. Otherwise, don't do it, okay? And what we've noticed, because we use a performance one as well, is that you need to be crystal clear on your sales calls and in what you do and how you do it. Because again, good people and people joining high ticket, they really don't care about the safety net. They understand that they need to take a risk. They understand that there's no safety net. If it comes about, we can still give them the right thing that it actually needs. Sometimes we still do offer the thing that is needed, but it comes with them having to put a lot of effort in as well, because it doesn't come from two sides, all right? So the anti-guarantee is the guarantee where it's more premium positioning, it's more strategic, and it says pretty much its opposite. So everything is final. If you need a guarantee before starting, this is not for you. So there's no refunds. We only work with committed clients, and it's strategic. So it's something that we've tested before as well, but of course people they get triggered by these crazy guarantees for some reason. Which of course makes sense. Like if you offer clients or whatever, it catches their attention. But we've used this one before, and if there's anyone else is sending you a guarantee, then it's pretty much not for you. Then we don't do guarantees. We just do committed clients that actually want the results. That's it. And what you need to understand is that it's a huge point that most people do not understand. And I think a guarantee in your marketing is not always the same as your guarantee in your offer. These can be related, but they're not identical. Because here's the thing. With the marketing guarantee, right, what happens is this is how you frame risk reduction in ads on the sales page in the VSLs or calls. And its job is, the only reason for it is to increase perceived likelihood of achievement and reduce fear. So for example, we work with you until the system is installed. You won't be left alone until you figure this out. You have direct support until launch. And this is this is partly persuasion. It is how you communicate safety, confidence, and certainty. And then in the offer, it's an actual contractual or practical commitment, which is specific, which is operationally sound, which is legally clean, which is clear on conditions. So for example, if you attend all calls, submit all work, and implement feedback within 48 hours, you spend 1,500 euros on ads within the first 2 months, and you still do not launch within 21 days due to our side, we continue supporting you for free until this is complete. Or if we fail to deliver the 10 qualified leads defined in section X, we credit the difference towards the next month. Okay, so it's not just the messaging, it's the actual rule set. It's the marketing version can be broader to attract people and more emotionally powerful, but the real offer must be tight. If the messaging promise is bigger than the operational reality, there are ways we can create mistrust. But again, in my experience, we've been doing the same thing for what we've been doing for 2 years. There have only been maybe like 3 occasions where people said like, oh, you said this and then it's this. Well, I mean, yeah, because we need to frame it in a specific way that is tailored to them. But if they already care about that, the question comes about, would they already be ICP? In my case, not really. So if they're not ICP and we're willing to leave these people out, then it's a fair point. We can still scale it up, get the right people in. Actually, almost the best people that come through, they might see it, but they might understand, it doesn't really matter for me. I just want to go all in and I'm dedicated to do these things. And that's the people that we want to be working with. But it still grab their attention. So it still works. Now, the most important thing is the market sophistication. Now, this one I also don't want to stay on for too long because this video, as you can see, has already been a long one. So I hope you guys are still with me. So 2.5 hours in, but we're going to be talking about the market sophistication, which is you have 3 different markets. You have, this is Eugene Schwartz's pretty much market sophistication levels. The beginner market is where a simple guarantee can work. Money back, low risk, trust is easy to build. Actually, don't even have to do a guarantee. But with the intermediate market, they become more skeptical, which means that we need to have a conditional guarantee, some proof, structure. And in an advanced market, which we are in, maybe you have seen a ton of people before you came to us, we need to have proof, we need to have specificity, we need to have an anti-guarantee or a performance model guarantee, and we need to have expertise that is demonstrated. So with beginners, it's just try it risk-free. Intermediates, results guaranteed if you follow the system. And advances, for example, we only work with serious operators. And if we don't get you the results, you get this back. Okay? So we got to match the guarantee if we want to use it. If it's not needed, don't use it. But if it's needed, use it, but only use it for the exact sophistication level in your market. Because if you're in a beginner market and they don't know, they're at the beginning level of sophistication, don't use a guarantee. Try to not use it as long as you don't have to. For us, it's been something that's been the key actually to opening up more lead flow, because there's a big distrust in people. And I do get people telling me, oh, Stefan, I saw your guarantee. Even like high level people saying, I saw your guarantee, how does this work? And I tell them, then they come on a call and then they join. And we didn't even have the guarantee on the contract because they don't give a shit. They don't care. They care about the outcome. Again, we go back to the outcome. People care about the outcome. If there's something that can grab their attention, we can then get it for them to pretty much join. That's the main thing that we want to do. So in different markets, there are different levels of guarantees that we could use and different needs. And when it's not needed, it should be used lightly or not, right? Because the best guarantee is not a strong guarantee. It's sometimes not even using a guarantee. If you can, but you gotta have a brand for it or a very less saturated market that can pretty much go in that. Now, to summarize this, I wanted to mention this to you as well so you know when you need to use it. Also goes for your offer. And I wanna finalize this with examples of agency guarantees. So agency guarantees can be a process guarantee. These are safe. We follow a proven system. A delivery guarantee, we deliver you X amount of leads or calls. A milestone guarantee, we will give you clear checkpoints and deliverables. So you control what you deliver. Don't say clients. We give you X amount of clients because then you're dependent. It's out of your control. You're dependent on the client doing the sales. A revenue guarantee or a client guarantee are too much unsafe for you as an agency owner because you give them something that is not in your power unless you build, as I said, a call center agency or a sales agency, which we don't want to do. We want to have a performance marketing agency, right? An ROI guarantee is impossible to fully control. It never guarantees what depends on the client's actions. Because the moment you do that, you lose the control, you lose the involvement, and that's not what we want to do. So that's on the agency side of things, right? It's very important to understand that because if you don't, then, it becomes very tough for you to actually go and implement for them, right? Because then you start doing something that is not your intention, that is not ideal. Now, the coach guarantee. So the strong ones are usually conditional guarantees, so complete the modules and show up. The support-based ones, we work with you until you get there, or milestone-based, the X result by week Y. Or process guarantee, you follow the system, get this result, and if not, you get that. A weak one is an income promise because you cannot have it in hand again. The sales, like for them, it's you'll make 10K a month. No, it's vague. Or you'll feel better. We cannot say that. Then it's better to not use a guarantee. In mindset niches, this usually comes about. Blanket money back with no conditions. You get money back, but no conditions. Or guarantees you can't sustain at scale. It just doesn't make sense because weak guarantees will attract refund seekers. And the best guarantee is a great offer with a clear outcome and a proven system, preferably without a guarantee. Okay? So, in my opinion, it's mainly that you should focus on these things, right? And weak examples are, for example, double your income or guaranteed 6 figures. How can you guarantee 6 figures? How can you guarantee a transformation? It's too vague. It's too risky. It's too dependent on the client having to do it. You cannot have in hand. You cannot go into their body and then just do it for them. You cannot do that. It's too dependent. Okay. So those are, in my opinion, examples for coaching guarantees that you could take about. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of some guarantees so you can also walk away with this and have an idea of how that looks like. So with low tickets or courses, you can, for example, say, I'll give you a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, because it's low ticket. A lot of people like Cole Gordon do this. They have a 97-euro offer or dollar offer. They say, I have this course. If you buy it and you're not happy, full satisfaction, you get a refund. Easy, because they don't care. It's like if you buy it, don't buy it. If they get 3 to 5% of churn on all people that buy it, that's just a little bit of people. It doesn't really matter. So the second one is the coaching, the high ticket coaching one. If you complete all modules and don't get results, we'll work with you for free until you do. This is the one that we do. It works well for high ticket coaching programs because people only want, mainly it's the support factor that they didn't get or didn't use that needs to amplify the usage so we get them to get the results. The agency one is, for example, if we don't deliver you X amount of leads or appointments in this amount of days, we will work for free until we do. This one is usually good for a retainer or setup or a retainer model, in my opinion, right? So you have a certain goal to uphold. Now, again, you can also use the guarantee as a goal. You can say, this is the goal. We don't offer guarantees. We just use the goal, and this is what we strive for, and this is what we go for, right? And then we have performance. So you only pay when we generate this result. No result is no fee. And it's best for advanced proven systems with full control. And usually, in my opinion, with performance, it's usually like for lead gen offers. Lead gen offers work the best, whereas this one is also for like done for you agencies, I would say, and usage of that. So that's for all the guarantees that you can use. Now, the anti-guarantee is, for example, we don't offer refunds. We only accept clients we know we can help. And it's good for premium ones. And for highly selective, for example, that's something we use on our mastermind. So I say in our mastermind, we don't actually give you a guarantee. There's no refunds. There's nothing else. We simply accept only clients that want and need our help. That's it. Okay? So those are some examples that you can take with you when it comes to implementing your own. Now, how do you build a guarantee? Again, this is something we're going to take into the worksheet in just a second, but it's important you understand this. We're going to answer 4 questions. What is the fear? So what is the buyer most afraid of, right? What can we control? What outcomes are fully within our delivery? So we only want to do the things that we have in our delivery, not things that is up to them. What conditions do exist? What must the client do to qualify to the guarantee? Can we sustain it? Can we scale this without destroying margins? When the fear is answered, it's an objection removed. When the control is defined, it's a risk managed, and when the conditions are set, we get serious clients only. So a well-built guarantee closes deals, whereas a poorly built one creates complete chaos on the back end. That's something we do not want. So if you cannot answer these things clearly, please don't do a guarantee, and it's not ready. Okay? If you can, then you're ready to use it, if needed. Now, again, the importance of the guarantee we of course talked about, so take that into mind. You need to have credibility, you need to have, again, reduce the fear, but never use it in a way that makes your business fragile. If you doubt it, bring it to the sessions that we'll have, and we'll talk about if you need to use a guarantee or not. So to finalize this module, which has been a long one, we are only just summarizing the common offer mistakes that I've seen personally working with, as I said, more than 600, 700 people in the past couple of years. So what I see is that some of you try to have too many offers. So you confuse the market and you confuse yourself. I don't want you doing that. I want you just having one core offer and max one ascension offer, or one, if needed, mid-ticket offer. Okay? So we don't want to go to the route of, so again, too many offers, it's too complex, and it's pretty much, there's no clarity on it. It's just underpricing, no focus, no proof, and these things that create, no clarity on the front end. So we want to make sure that the offer is built with focus, with pricing at the right stage, with making sure that you have clarity, that you fix the message. Because one clear offer to one clear person with one clear results, that's the only thing you need to get results, right? You don't need more than that. So all these things we want to solve. And we want to have a minimum viable version first, right? We want to have a simple, minimum viable version. Then refine it, tighten the outcome, improve delivery, add proof, productize it, document the system, repeat it, scale it. And then the full ecosystem, the full offer stack with the entry, the core, the premium, the community. Preferably the core and the premium only, and then expanding to the entry and the community. So the MVP is done over perfect. We just need to get it out there. And we need refined, we need to have the feedback and the assumptions over assumptions. Productizing it is the systems over people, just systemize it, make it SOPs, and the ecosystem is the leverage for us to scale. Keep in mind, every offer starts with rough sketches, and it's never perfect. I'm a perfectionist myself, but I need to get it out there. If I still keep on waiting, well, then it's not going to be there for my clients to be able to use it. So we need to have something to test it out quickly. And there are about 10 questions, which you're going to have in the worksheet as well, which you're going to take for yourself. If you can answer these, your offer is good. So can you explain your offer in one sentence? Is the target client 100% clear? Is the outcome specific and measurable? Is the mechanism believable? Is the timeline defined? If these things are not clear, forget about having an offer that is actually scoring well for the clients and hitting the nail on the head. It's very tough to do, okay? So once you have that, well, then we can go into the pathway. So for agencies, it's usually we go into a niche, then we have the problem, the mechanism, and the offer ladder. So for example, for a med spa, it would be the problem is not enough booked appointments that they're getting. The mechanism that you could use is paid ads only with a booking funnel and follow-up system. It's kind of tied into meta ads. You can do a 2K audit as a entry level. A core can be a 10K setup for their website, for example, and then a 3K a month retainer. And your premium offer could be 5K a month with a performance if you help them also build out something specific and you go on location and give them some sort of product that can help them as an ascension package. Now for an e-commerce agency, it could be the same. You do DTC e-commerce brands that do 500K to 5 million revenue. The problem is that they have high CPA, low ROAS scaling plateau. You do meta ads, maybe some emails and CRO as an additional backend mechanism. The entry is a 1.5K audit on their ads, a 5K retainer only for ads, and a 3K a month plus 10% of ad spend if you do also emails on top and CRO. So that's just an example of what you can do when it comes down to the agency space. Now with the coach pathway, it's kind of similar, but you need to understand that you want to have, like, for example, an entry workshop, which could be, if you're a business coach, a 997 5-day challenge or a workshop that people pay for, so they follow it online. 7.5K could be a 90-day group coaching program to get them X result. And the premium could be a 20K 12-month mastermind where they pay 2K a month for, plus one-on-ones. You offer that on the back end. The fitness coach could be a 4-week online challenge that you could offer. So you give them some sort of entry-level offer where it's a 4-week online challenge where they have group coaching with you, or they have a community plus group coaching where they come into that and you give them that as a 4-week challenge. Then they can get upsold to a 6-month transformation program to do a full transformation and get the consistency in, which can be maybe a kickstart one-on-one call, and then from there on group plus a different community with more people that have invested in that. And the premium can be a 10K VIP, one-on-one plus nutrition and accountability. So it builds like the growth for you. So the entry will build trust on all offers, the core will build the revenue, and the premium will build the overall growth and the ascension package. Okay. So the simplicity rule, I want you to keep things very simple. I want you to have an offer that is easy to explain. One sentence. A 10-year-old could understand it. If your offer cannot be summarized in one sentence, we have a big problem. We want to have a clear result. The outcome is specific, measurable, and desired. It's a clear mechanism. This is the path that we're going to be doing to get to that point. So complexity is the enemy of conversion. We need to simplify as much as we can. And simple is easier for you. Simple sells, simple scales. Simple is easier for you and your team and everyone involved in your business. The clients as well. They will simplicity. They will love it if you do it the right way. Okay? So that's a rule I want to give to you to uphold simplicity. And the way that we're going to build a framework is we're going to start with the niche as we did. The problem they have. Now we're looking at the outcome and the mechanism, the model, the price, and the testing of it. So we're going to be following all these things and using this in order. You're going to choose the niche, identify the pain point, define the desired outcome, which we've done previously. If you haven't done it, please go back to the modules. You're skipping important parts. Build the simplest, credible machine. Choose the right model. If you're in the agency space, go that route. Coaching, course creator, go that route. Adjust for saturation. Add proof and risk reduction. Add a guarantee if needed only for that market. Price according to value. Simplify. Test and refine. That's it. That's how you create a good offer. So I've been talking for long enough. I don't want to go in depth on the offer worksheet because that's what we have this for. There will be an offer worksheet where we're going to define your niche, the problems, the outcome, the mechanism, the delivery model, the program, length, the core offer price, the entry offer, the premium upsell, the guarantee, the proof, the 1-sentence summary, all of these things. So you're going to think about the strategy, go to the worksheet and build the offer sheet in your worksheet that you can present to clients, and then it's ready to sell. So what I would like for you to do is go and complete the worksheet, fill in every field, complete the offer sheet, which is in the worksheet, so you can present it, define your model, which you're going to do, and then submit it for review in the school group so we can give you feedback on it and bring it back to the clarity call that we have every single week. Again, one niche, one offer, one model, and one alignment. And this is the foundation. That's why this module was so long. I need to make it clear to you to understand the fundamentals, and now we're going to execute. So what do I want you to do? I want you to go down below this video and you will find the 8-figure offer engineering worksheet and offer sheet builder. Now this one is how you actually tailor a clear, high value scalable offer. And again, I'm not going to explain too much of it because I made a full video, which is another video of like 15 minutes of in-depth going and showcasing to you how to structure the offer document. And I want you to really take this seriously. Take all the time. Don't do it quickly. Take at least 3, 4, 5 days to make your offer, and don't do it anytime soon. And if I see that you half-assed this, I'm going to send you back to the building blocks and watch this entire module again and do the entire document, because I don't want you doing things half. I want you to do them full and good, and that's what we are here for. So go through the document, run through everything, the core offer, the who, the primary result, the system, the method, all of the points that we have here. Who is this offer for, etc. Go through everything, align with your offer, set it up. If you already have it, set it up. Think about the ascension protocols that we can have, the premium, the entry offers, all these things that we can do. Set it up, bring it back to school, and I look forward for you to set up your mastery offer, not just a random one, and scale it up to the next level. Thank you for watching this module, and if you watched this to the end, you're a true OG, and my respect to you. Wish you an amazing day. See you in the next one. Bye.